times come to bite. Bodies clashing, dreams ignite under the neon lights. Oh yeah, Paul Walker Davies, the boys calling every move. Amy Vaughn and the trivia getting you in the groove. Oh yeah. Feel the energy, the thunder as the crowd begins to roar. High flying daredevils in a battle like never before. Oh yeah, from the turnbuckle to the mat, the action never stops. Talking wrestling takes you to the top. Oh yeah, feel the energy, the thunder as the crowd begins to roar. High flying daredevils in a battle like never before. Oh yeah, from the turnbuckle to the mat, the action never stops. Talking wrestling takes you to the top. Oh yeah, talking wrestling is the wild ride from suplexes to body slams. We got it all inside. Get ready for excitement. That's on the show. Talking wrestling is ready to throw down. Oh yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome in for another edition of Talking Wrestling with Palm Water Dave. I'm Palm Water Dave. I couldn't do it without the first lady of the Farm Anderson, the first lady of the Arn Anderson. Words are hard. Fan club, Miss Amy Vaughn. How you doing, Amy?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing? Look at you got. I feel like you got this beard going. It's like Santa Claus.
Well, you better watch out. First time I screw up trimming it, I'll probably shave it off. But
I mean, I give it thumbs up. I'm just,
Thank you.
beard guy.
Every year I grow it, and it's just more and more gray, and I feel like I got Kenny Rogers looking back at me.
Ooh, Islands in the Stream. Ooh, we'll do that later. You can sing, and I'll shut my eyes, and I'll see if I.
Let's don't say we did. We're already having a hard time getting people to listen to this thing.
Okay.
Allison
Point
Faye said
taken.
the beard is approved, though. So
Yes, thank you. Horsemen do wear white, so
uh-huh.
that's an ongoing thing I have with
Well, with
one.
us tonight is the promoter of Bayou Independent Wrestling, my absolute favorite place in the world to work. Mr. Josh Newell. How you doing now, Josh?
Oh, I can't complain. I'm sure you have said that to another promoter on here before, right? That it's your favorite place to work. If I go back and listen to every single one, I'm not going to hear that.
I probably don't.
Okay.
I mean, I do tell Tim Robinson that when he was running AMW, that it was one of my favorite places to work.
Right.
But I mean, PCW, AMW. I mean, the list is there's a lot more on the list of favorite places to work than places not to work. I just don't mention them.
Well, yeah, in the not to work places, you go like once or twice, and then you don't go again because there's no reason to go back. So
yeah,
there's no real reason to talk about that.
Sometimes you get some pretty interesting stories from those experiences, though.
There he is. I have visited to scout talent on many occasions, and it's rough sometimes. It's also good sometimes, but it's rough sometimes too.
We did a show in Garland, Texas once at a Knights of Columbus hall, or a VFW hall. It was Akbar was on the show, and Akbar was the only one that got paid. Spoiler 2000 was there. There's lots of good talent on this show, and the guy's name was Mark that ran it because Akbar called him Mark the Mark.
Oh,
but the ring was wood. It had a tarp over the mat. There was no mat. It had a tarp on it. It was like fishing. It was like boat rope that you tie your boat up. I mean, it was a homemade ring. And I mean, it was a dangerous situation for the boys because the tarp wasn't, I mean, it was just bad.
Right.
But,
Spoiler 2000 worked for me in Atlanta, Texas one time at the lowest attended BIW show of all time. It also had a ceiling in which the guys couldn't do anything from the top rope or jump really at all. So Spoiler, as tall as he was, he had it the hardest because like he could barely raise his hand up without having to be like, am I going to hit something? So it was an interesting night. Spoiler was, man, I miss Spoiler 2000 so much.
Oh, he's the best.
And the nicest guy I've ever met in professional wrestling. I've met a lot of nice guys, but Spoiler 2000 is the nicest. When I started booking in Texas, he was the guy that I convinced the champion at the promotion to drop it to. He had it for a little while and didn't necessarily want to give it up. But everybody respected and loved Spoiler so much that I was able to convince Spoiler to come once a month for a year for me. And we were able to get it off that guy and get it on to whoever we wanted it to next through Spoiler. And man, I'll never forget all the stuff that early in my career Spoiler did to help me out and how nice and kind he was.
Does he still wrestle, or is
No.
he? Okay, I didn't know. I'm not familiar with Spoiler 2000.
He's been gone a little while now.
If you look at him, you'll know why he's called Spoiler. I mean, Akbar gave him the name, said, "You're Spoiler because you look like Spoiler," and he does look like the Spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he's a
Just
huge
the
fan
2000 version, right? I guess.
And he was just, man, he throw that claw on and do the mask gimmick, and
his mannerisms and all that stuff was pretty close. I mean, he did a good job with it. Cool. He took it serious. He wasn't one of those that just kind of cosplayed with it or tried to play with it. He really went out and took it serious every time he was in the ring with it. So.
Yeah, very. And the first time I saw him, I was with Mike Page. We had gone to a PCW show. It was before I started refereeing. And immediately, I saw him and I saw Spoiler. I'm like, wow. I mean, it wasn't one of those deals like that guy reminds me of the Spoiler. I'm like, man, that's the second coming to the Spoiler right there.
Now, from everything I've heard about the original Spoiler outside the ring, he's definitely not like the Spoiler outside the ring.
No.
Yeah. Super nice guy. Super nice.
I don't know if you saw the comment, but Justin Davis is here with us.
Okay. Hey, Justin.
We miss Justin.
I don't know if I do. He said we're just okay.
Well, he's not lying.
Oh, maybe you. I think I'm better than okay.
You're all right.
Is all right actually
depends on who you ask.
Very true.
I'm not sure if all right's better than okay. They're same ballpark.
That's very true. Oh, that's what I was saying, Allison Faye.
Oh. Okay. My ego can't take it. You're going to have to say something nice about me too, Allison. I mean, I know that you already put the beard over.
Yeah. The beard is approved. That's pretty awesome.
Well, Josh, tell us, I'm going to jump right in to something that's coming up in Bayou Independent Wrestling. I'm going to lead off with it. You're having a tournament. Down in the Bayou tournament.
Ooh.
And I'd like you to tell us about it. What's the concept? What are we doing here?
Yeah. Well, I'm a big Japanese wrestling fan, as most people know that know me. I mean, 90% of the wrestling I consume on a weekly basis is probably Japanese wrestling. And tournaments, of course, are huge in Japan. Now, a lot of their tournaments are round robin. I didn't think that we could do enough shows in a certain amount of time to be able to do a round robin one that we could still keep people's interest. So this will be single elimination. But there's not a lot of tournaments in the South. There's a few memorials here and there for people to keep their honor out there and, to just bring back those positive memories on people and get everybody together. But there's not too many actual just competitive tournaments in the South where there's 16 guys fighting. Winner gets a big trophy. You get a title shot of your choice. You get the bragging rights. We're going to have people that have been in BIW before. We're going to have some people that have only been around once or twice that didn't really get a fair chance to impress. We're also going to have some people that have never worked at BIW. So we're going to have a completely open field covering as many states as we can. Just there on the graphic that you have up, I mean, there's talent from West Texas, East Texas, Oklahoma, Southern Louisiana, Mississippi, and we still have 6 more names to put on it, which at least 2 more states will be covered by the time I get through all 16 names. Every Sunday on our Facebook, we release the next name. So, and we're going to do that until the end of the year. The tournament starts in January and it'll end in September with the finals, which will take place in Fountain Hill, Arkansas. But the tournament will cover shows in West Monroe, Louisiana, Fountain Hill, Arkansas, and Brookhaven, Mississippi. Every town will have some matches along the way.
Well, let's look at the talent that we've gotten so far.
Hunter Law, I think he's so underrated. I think he's one of the best in Southern Louisiana, and probably people don't consider him one of the best, but he's so good. I'm hoping that after this tournament, more people realize that.
A lot of buzz on him right now.
Yeah, he deserves every bit of it. He deserves every bit of it.
And then we have Rook Tyler, one half of the BIW tag team. No, he's not. No,
they tried to win some tag.
They tried.
They haven't done it.
Yeah, horsepower. My bad.
Yeah, horsepower's got them right now. Rook and APOC make a heck of a team, though. Of course, Rook has his party like a Rook star that we do after every win, where the kids get in the ring and celebrate, and the rock music plays, and we air guitar and headbang. But here lately, him and APOC have been having a hard time getting the rock music to play because they've been losing a good bit. This will be a chance for Rook to do something in the singles category, which he hasn't done much this year. We all know how talented Rook is. He just hasn't quite picked up the big wins in BIW, so maybe this will be his catapult.
Super high flyer, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Brady Pierce.
That's what the women always do, Amy. Like,
besides playing Michael Hayes in the Iron Claw movie.
Yeah, and I've watched Brady's career for a long time, but the first time I got to see him in person was at a Wildcat show 3 weeks ago, whenever it was. And as soon as he came out, every woman just did what Amy did and just went crazy. There was women in the front row that I don't know how family friendly we try and keep it, but I can't say what they were saying when he came out. And yeah, it was just like that. Brady, obviously, as you can see, looks the part. He knows where the gym's at. He's strong, but he can really go. He's not one of those muscle guys that you get in there and you're like, yeah, that's kind of boring. No, this guy can wrestle. He's a machine. Ooh. So this will be his BIW debut, even though he's already had a heck of a career. He's been on NWA. He's done, movies. He's done a lot of stuff. And I have a feeling it's just starting to blow up for him. It's going to get bigger. So Brady is making his BIW debut, but I wouldn't be surprised out of the 10 names listed so far if he might be the favorite.
I was going to say, do we know when he's going to be making that debut? At what month and what show, maybe? If we need to get our tickets now.
He will be making
Make some
his
travel
debut
plans
in March. He'll be making his debut in March in West Monroe. So if you want to circle that.
Circle the whole month. I can't be. I'm busy.
I have the specific date, but I don't have it off the top of my head.
I got you.
We got shows in October, 2 in November, 1 in December, and in January that I could tell you the actual date on. But 5 is about all I can handle in my head at one time on the date.
I understand.
I do have all the months. I do have all the months lined up. So, but yeah, Brady will be on the March West Monroe show. So circle your calendar. Plan on staying with Dave in Mississippi and just make it a weekend. That show's going to be really, really good too. We have some other cool stuff planned for that show too.
My bad, y'all.
Oh, you're all right.
Yay, Gio!
Here's our Mississippi guy, one half of Muddy Waters. Pure energy, pure excitement. Gio's somebody that's kind of been, floating around at some of the not as known independents for a little while, and he's just now starting to get on those bigger and better ones. And he's not disappointing. Every time he does a match, say he had one with me with Barrett Brown, and you look at it and go, all right, you're not nearly as experienced. You haven't done nearly as much. I know this is going to be hard. Deep breaths. Let's learn a lot tonight. It ain't like that. He still goes out there and has a killer match. He's absorbing it so fast that he's not having to do the learning curve stuff. He's just delivering. So he's one of those kind of young guys that I'd watch out for. I think Gio could be something special.
No,
really special.
Charisma. The kids love. I mean, he connects with kids. The kids love him. I mean, it's got that Cody Rhodes, John Cena connection with the kids.
Mhm. My sister loved him when we went down. We saw him when we came down there. He just like you said, all that energy, like that was a really fun. So he's an under. So like he might be a dark horse to win the tournament.
He definitely could be.
He's that one of those wrestlers. I think he's just that close. He's that close to breaking out.
And the more times he's wrestling, guys like a Barrett Brown, and he just wrestled Jay Lethal on another promotion.
Ooh.
Getting those matches is going to speed all this up tremendously.
Yes.
And his confidence is going to go up. His abilities that he already has lurking are going to be brought out to the surface. So it's going to be a good thing for Gio if he just keeps on this path for sure.
Yeah, you can catch him he's on television in Memphis now.
That's where he wrestled Lethal at.
Yeah. So. Doing good things up there.
Absolutely.
Braxton Hunter. I'm familiar with Braxton Hunter because I've refereed for him since he started.
Yeah, Braxton's been around a while now. People don't realize it. He looks so young that you don't realize he's actually been around a decent amount of time. He's wrestled for BIW before, but it's been very here and there, hit or miss. Braxton's somebody that if you go and look at what he was doing, say 4 or 5 years ago, he doesn't even look like the same person. Braxton's, just refocused on wrestling, changed his routine, and like he's a dude now. Like he's somebody that can win on any given night now.
Awesome.
I met him at Pro Wrestling Ego.
Okay. Yeah.
I was refereeing there. Man, it's been 9 years now.
Yeah, and if you look at him, you would guess he's in his early 20s, but he's a little farther along.
Yeah,
not old by any stretch, but a little farther along.
Yeah, he's babyface.
Oh yeah.
Demo Diamond. Super excited for Demo coming in. We've had Demo on the show. He's doing big things at MPX.
This is his BIW debut. He's somebody I've been talking to because I think I said this the last time I was on, but like we book a year out. Most places don't do that. So when I get messages, I usually have to say no because we already have a plan. So there's a lot of people I've talked to for a year, 2 years that I actually want to bring in, but we just don't have a spot right now. Demo is one of those. So now there's finally a spot with this tournament where we can bring some fresh faces in where there's not a storyline attached to it. It's about coming in and having a really good match. And now we can get a few guys like Demo to come in, and I'm really looking forward to it. He's in that Dallas scene right now. He's blowing up.
Oh yeah, he's kind of readjusted. I don't say he's changed his attitude, but he's enhanced his attitude with the help of Jamie Aller. Just recently came off of an MPX title run. From what I understand, I mean, all I heard was Jamie's side of it.
Right.
That I guess there's a referee that made the count that it's not even a referee anymore. Or Jamie was big mad, but y'all know how Jamie is.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to see it for myself. I'd have to see some footage for myself.
Yeah. But I'm super excited about Demo coming in.
Definitely.
I think it'll be a really, really good one. This is another one that I'm excited about because PJ's never been with us. He's never been to BIW, but obviously that last name holds a lot of weight in the Louisiana, Mississippi area. That's a family that's done a lot of awesome and amazing things in Southern wrestling. And PJ has a huge amateur wrestling background, and he's somebody that if he gets you to the mat, you probably aren't getting up easily. So I'm really looking forward to having PJ in too.
Yeah, I've been friends with Luke for I don't know how many years now. It's a long time. Think the world of his dad. I think the world of him. He's doing great things. You probably saw him. He went viral I think it was last year. It all starts running together. They had a match at a mall, and he jumped off the second floor.
Oh,
I don't know if he took the escalator up and he came off the second floor.
You can also catch him in heels. I know I saw him as a referee in a couple scenes in heels on season 2. So he's doing some acting as well. A lot of those Wildcat guys, because Luke's the guy. If you want to do wrestling, in the movies, and if you want to do those scenes and do something, Luke is the dude. So,
Yeah, I waited too late to reach out on Iron Claw.
James Beard took your spot?
No, I think it was the other guy.
I got you.
James Beard is the spot.
That is true. And of course, he'll be wrestling with you this Saturday. So,
oh, wow, I can't wait. Anytime I can referee with James, it's I like to be able to watch him because you can just, if you can't learn something from James Beard every time you're around him, then you're hard headed and you can't learn.
Right. That's very true. Very true.
Chris Lyons.
Yeah, he's only been to BIW once. And it's been probably a year and a half-ish, give or take. He's out of that.
Natchez?
He was in Fountain Hill, Arkansas. And I know that because Miss Betty from Fountain Hill loves her some Chris Lyons. That's one of her favorite wrestlers. And he's only been in once. So that's the town for sure. But Chris is a martial arts guy, like legit has a background in it that he will knock you out. And he's out of that Houston area. And I'm looking forward to him kind of leaving planting a bigger flag on BIW than maybe he was able to the first time in. Because his first match was really good, but him and Eddie Martinez wrestled, and there was a big size difference there and a big speed difference. I'm looking forward to putting him in with somebody a little closer to his size and seeing the physicality that comes with it.
Nightmare?
Well, if Nightmare can win in Spring Hill, either him or Ray Fury's in the tournament. The loser's not.
Oh.
So one of the big matches we have November 16th is Ray Fury versus Jeremiah, and the winner's in the tournament. The loser's not.
Oh, wow.
And only one member of Southern Royalty is going to be allowed in this tournament, so we try to limit the tomfoolery. So if Jeremiah wins, obviously he's the representative of Southern Royalty. If he loses, that opens some other doors. So we'll have to see. That's a very important match that is one of the reasons that we're kind of slowly announcing stuff, because we don't know everything yet. We kind of got to wait to see how that match plays out, because it affects two spots. Because if he loses, we still need a Southern Royalty guy. And if he wins, that is the Southern Royalty guy. So it takes out, kind of handles two spots with that match.
All right. That'll be interesting to see how Southern Royalty deals with all this, like.
And we're talking like everybody knows who Southern Royalty is. I mean, Southern Royalty is Angel Camacho, King Rob Love, Alex Arsenal, and the Nightmare Jeremiah.
So ego. No.
Pretty much.
Does Jeremiah have an ego?
Well, I don't know. He doesn't say enough words for me to really understand.
He's silent and violent. He's silent but violent.
But he wants to represent in this tournament. But I bet every one of those other guys want to also. So that is going to be really an interesting match to see how Southern Royalty deals with that.
And Alex Arsenal and Rob Love are both in the building that night that Jeremiah and Ray Fury fight each other. So I'm sure Ray needs to keep his eyes out for sure.
Interesting.
That's
November 16th?
All I heard as a referee is this is going to be a tough one.
Are you the ref, Pondwater?
I normally am.
For Spring Hill, I think you're the only ref on that one.
Yeah.
Because James Beard will be with you this weekend. Next weekend, DJ will be with you. And then Robert will be with you in December. So you'll be the only one in November.
At least Angel won't be there to slap you around.
Nope, not on this one.
On that one. You better keep a focus now, Dave.
Hey, Angel just shoved me at the last show, but Rob Love just started throwing hands.
Did he? Oh,
he was hitting me in the moneymaker.
I just saw that one where Angel hit you and you did a somersault or something. Maybe that wasn't the most recent. He's pushed you since.
Yeah, Angel only has to do it once. Rob Love was rat-a-tatting my head.
Right.
Oh, Josh, you need to have some better protection for these refs. What's going on down there?
We've tried. We fined Raylynn after the last show because she put her hands on Dave outside the ring. So
a girl, Pondwater.
Yeah.
You were being nice. You didn't want to hit her back, did you?
I didn't. No, I mean, let me be clear. that one was on me.
Okay.
I was probably being a bit over officious, but Cassandra
Over
Golden doesn't.
officious? Is that what you said?
Yes,
Okay.
but Cassandra Golden does not normally lose it like she did that night because Ray Lynn was mashing her buttons, and I mean,
Cassandra's
she was
young.
she was pushing me on counts. I mean, she was this close to being disqualified on multiple occasions.
Oh.
And Ebony, I felt like she was taking great joy in tormenting Cassandra. She was taking great joy in tormenting me. She was tormenting the fans. But when Cassandra snapped, all hell broke loose, and
You
I
were
tried to
supposed to.
get in the middle of it,
Yeah.
ignoring
Like a
the
good
advice,
ref. Like a good
ignoring
ref.
the advice that my father gave me at a young age. Watch out for women, son. They'll hurt you. And Ray Lynn may be tiny, but Dynamite comes in small packages, and I'll guarantee you, that shove that she put me into the ring. My back hit the ring, and I felt it a lot more than Rob Love's punches.
Really interesting. Oh,
Raylan ain't nobody to play with. That's for sure.
no, apparently not. Manhandled pond water. Hey, but you keep coming back for more. You just love that reffing, don't you?
Yeah.
This worked out good for Chris. We didn't talk about Chris very much, but he's been up on the screen the longest. So he got extra time.
Well, next up we have Exodus Prime.
He's another one that he's been in BIW a few times and had great.
Now he was in Natchez,
but he's kind of like he wrestled Danny Chance in Brookhaven and Christian Blake in Spring Hill for us. So I don't know why you keep trying to go back to Natchez. Did something bad happen to you there, or is there something?
It was just that neat. It was just a neat building.
It is a fun little building. I think you'll like the Spring Hill building too. You weren't at the first one we did there, but it's a very cool little setup, and the acoustics in there are so loud. Like we had 300 fans, but it sounded like 600.
Oh wow, those are great buildings when they're like that.
Plus, our little locker room is in a courthouse, so like I sat where the judge would sit and had the little seat and everything. It was great.
Neat.
So I like Spring Hill. I hope it gets added to our regular rotation. But Frogs Liquidation brings us in for those. So as long as they're profitable, I think we'll be going. But as soon as they're not profitable, we might not be able to go. The first one is profitable, so we're doing our second one coming up.
And that's Spring Hill, Arkansas? Is that what she said?
Louisiana.
Oh, no, that's
Louisiana.
Fountain Hill was the one in Arkansas. I know there's a hill on both of them. So.
Okay. Fountain Hill is in Arkansas. Okay.
But Exodus Prime is a big darn deal.
Oh, yeah. He's blowing up in Texas, too, kind of like Diamond.
And him and Demo have had some really good matches.
Ooh,
if the tournament comes down to these two, it's going to be Katie bar the door. It's going to be tremendous.
And we haven't locked up the contract yet, so I can't go too much into it. But I think Exodus is going to have a coach with him while he's participating in the tournament. Somebody from BIW's past. One of the most decorated BIW people of all time, to be honest. So if we can work it out, he's going to have him a heck of a coach.
Interesting.
I'm intrigued.
No kidding.
Well, I'm not going to guess because I don't want to spoil it if I get it.
And I can tell you, this person they wanted to represent Exodus Prime. They looked at him as a top-notch athlete. It wasn't me reaching out, going, hey, will you do this, Bob? No, this was, hey, pick up your phone. I want to talk to you about a certain wrestler. So I think it'll be a good match.
He's impressive. He really is.
He really is. Absolutely. Casey's another one.
Rose.
He'll be making his BIW debut. He represents Hybrid out of San Antonio.
Okay.
We haven't had a lot of hybrid guys over, but they're one of the top schools in Texas. They've been around a long time, producing good talent. And Casey's another one I've been talking to on and off for a year or two. And you've just seen him improve and improve and improve. And he's going to bring it in this tournament. He's one of the most excited. Out of all the guys that we've listed so far, Casey was probably the most eager and excited of the group to kind of make his BIW debut and come over and punch somebody in the face.
Who coaches at Hybrid?
Chris Marvel's the main one.
Okay.
Which was one of the Texas treats for a long, long time in Texas. Him and Don Juan were a tag team for, man, I don't even know. I don't want to say the wrong number, but I would guess at least 10 to 15 years that they tagged together.
Really?
Don Juan was, of course, one of our first BIW champions. He was the second one, right behind Akaika. And they both went to Rudy Boy and Shawn Michaels wrestling school. So when I first started, we were using a lot of guys from that school.
Mm-hmm.
Because I loved Akaika and I loved Don Juan, and they were doing stuff with Ring of Honor and FIP, but we're talking in the 2006-07 range. And I grew up kind of watching a lot of that stuff. Ring of Honor early days is some of my favorite wrestling ever. So when I had an opportunity to get some guys that had been working with those companies, I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then I got to know them, and I was like, yeah, I see why they're making these trips and doing these things. They're really good in the ring.
Awesome.
Well, there's the down on the Bayou tournament.
So far, this Sunday,
will there be a Japanese style trophy at the end of this tournament?
There is going to be a trophy that I'm about 5'7", and the trophy will be finished next week. But I've already got to kind of look at it and see the designs and see some different things on it. It's not quite as tall as me, but it's close. So it's a 5-footer at least trophy. It might be just over 5 foot, but it's at least a 5 foot high trophy that the winner is going to get. Plus, they'll get a title shot of their choice if they want to go for the tag, if they want to go for the Deep South Heritage, or if they want to go for the big one, the Southern title. They can get any title opportunity they want. We're not letting champions in. So this first year, if you have a title as of after this Saturday, you're not allowed to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
So currently that would mean no Eddie Martinez, no Nate Collins, no Bam Bam, no Barrett Brown, which are all great names, but we have to fill these shows too with non-tournament matches as well. And the titles and just their direct contenders are people that we're trying to do different things with while the tournament's going on. So anybody that's got like an upcoming title shot or have a title, we kind of left off the list for at least the first year.
Well, and what a great way to shine on these newer, younger talents, like you said, by eliminating champions, because obviously you do have to, fill out the card, but, it's one of those things where it's like a new champion could be, crowned after, when they get that title shot. And all of those guys, like how sometimes when you see a tournament or whatever, and you're just like, okay, he's probably going to be, he's probably going to be in the finals, or he's probably going to win. I feel like you could say that about all of those guys. Like there really is not like, it won't be disappointing to watch any match because it's just not going to be someone like, oh, he's definitely in the finals, because they're all good and they all have great, attributes. And you just, depending on who they got, they're matched up with. I mean, you just don't really know. It's going to be fun.
And we'll have the brackets released in December, which will be like the NCAA tournament where you'll be able to see the whole thing. So whoever wins in the first round, you'll know, okay, if they win, they're going to face such and such in the second round. And you'll be able to look at it and kind of do your predictions for the whole tournament. Maybe we can get on here one day and
well, I was going to say, do you want to come on the show and unveil? You want to come on the show and unveil the brackets?
And then we'll see how accurate you were. We'll have you do predictions, Dave, since you know all these guys pretty well.
From the North region.
Let's let
the number one seed.
Let's let Amy, and maybe we'll get somebody else on here to do predictions.
Okay.
But I really don't want to do the predictions because
you don't want to get punched in the face by
because then I got to be in the ring with them. And it's like, why didn't you think I was going to win?
Oh, that's true. Right. Oh,
and the thing is, even though we have a lot of people debuting, I'm still very picky on who we let in. Like, you're not 1 year in probably getting a match at BIW. You're probably not 2 years in getting a match at BIW. You're not wrestling at one promotion and probably getting a match at BIW. You're traveling. You're getting your buzz. You're getting your name out there. So even these guys that are making their debuts, they have a buzz in their area. They haven't made it to our area yet, but they have a buzz already. So everybody in it's going to be good. So all 8 first-round matches should be very competitive. It's going to be a lot of people that have never met each other. There's going to be, 2 guys that have never been in the same locker room with each other wrestling. But they should all be pretty evenly matched and competitive, or else we just
Oh.
would not want to do it. We'd rather that just be somewhere else.
Yeah, they're top contenders from their areas. And here's the thing about BIW. It's not, you don't get the same people every show. Now there's a core. There's a
Right.
core, but Josh is going to give you, have you ever done a show more than 6 matches?
Ever? Yes. In my early days when I sucked at this,
Yeah.
I had some shows that were like 9 and 10 matches where my budget was over. We were going 3 hours and 15
Yeah,
minutes.
we don't.
But we dropped all that many years ago. So we it's the top is 6, sometimes it's 5. We're going to give you 1:50 to 2 hours and 15 minutes depending on the night of entertainment, and we're going to hopefully, God willing, leave you wanting more instead of you going, man, when is this going to end? I know I have sat in the audience for shows that are 3.5, 4 hours with long talking segments and 10 matches, and I'm just looking at my clock going, I don't want to be disrespectful, but can we leave? And it's not anything against the talent either, because a lot of times those shows had great talent, great matches, whatever. But I only have about 2.5 hours of positivity in me, for a wrestling show live. After that, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go. We can do it again tomorrow. I don't need a long break.
And this has been his formula for a long time. I mean, we praise Triple H now because he's going with this NXT takeover formula of pay-per-views where it's less matches with better quality.
Right.
It's quality, not quantity. And sure, I mean, it works. Nobody's exhausted at the end of the thing. Everybody's excited, and we want more. We want more. But Josh has been doing this formula since before NXT.
Yeah, and I get a lot of slack for it because there's a lot of people that just see the lineups and they're like, "Oh, you're only doing 5 matches. You're not giving the fans their money's worth." I get that all the time. Not from people that actually come to the show, though. Because if you come to the show, we're giving you the 2 hours for sure. It doesn't matter if it's 5, 6, whatever. You're going to get your 2 hours. But we're also able to give these guys time. I'm going to bring the best that I can get my hands on in and not ask them to only do 6 minutes because, we have 10 matches or 9 matches or 8 matches. I'm going to give them time to go out there and show why they're good and why they're talented. Plus, it helps with the budget. Instead of having 8 matches where 3 of them are medium to low, why not drop those 3, save that money, bring in 2 really good guys, and have another really, really good match on the show instead of 3 medium matches on the show? I would rather do that. That's just my approach and what I would rather do. And when people come into the locker room, I don't want them to think automatically that they're the best person. I like when you look around and go, "Oh, okay, that one's on my level," or "Ooh, I probably need to get on their level." Or I don't think you should work in locker rooms where you automatically know you're the best person every single time in it. Now, your goal should always be to be the best person in the locker room. But if you can just walk in and know, "Oh, I'm probably the best dude here," and that's consistent every time you go there. "Oh, I'm still the best person here." What are you learning? How are you getting better?
Right.
Who's pushing
Right.
you to the next level? Are you helping some kids? Sure, you're probably helping some people get better. But who's going to push you? Who's going to get you to that next level? And when you walk into a locker room and see the experience of Steve Anthony, Caleb Conley, Chase Stevens, Barrett Brown, Bam Bam, Ray Fury, all these guys who all are top guys, they can't honestly sit there and look around and go, "Man, I know I'm the best, dude in here." They go, "Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna see what happens," and it pushes them to be better. I love making the semi-main and main event just both main events and seeing which one wins the crowd over. And I'll tell them that in the back too. I'll say, "I don't know which match the crowd's going to message me the most about. Maybe the semi-main event should have been the main event." And then I'll watch the main event guys churn and just, I want to be better. And then they'll listen to the crowd. And if it's erupting, then they get even more focused. And I just like challenging them that way. Just positive, but hey, you're going to have to bring it. If you go out there and you don't bring it, you're not going to be the main event.
So. I mean, there's almost, there's more matches on the card that you don't want to go after.
Right.
And it's, I mean, that's just how it is. It's sometimes it's hard. I mean, everybody's hard to follow, is what I'm saying.
I try to give 3 main events. I try to do one right before intermission, and then a semi-main and a main event. And if any of those 3 are the ones that I get the most messages about, the most comments on, the whatever, I'm okay with it. And I want to challenge the guys like that. And remember, a lot of these matches are only 5. There's only 5 matches on a lot of them. And I'm saying I'm trying for 3 of them to be main events. So that's 60% of the show could probably main event on any given night, depending on when they were asked to be the last match. It's not that they couldn't be the last match. It's just tonight they weren't asked to be the last match. And obviously there's some special nights here and there where there is a clear main event. Cassidy's retirement. We've done the steel cage before when we did the 4-way for the tag titles. There are nights where it's like, oh yeah, that's definitely the main event.
Okay, I gotta ask. Oh,
Okay.
Did you freeze up?
Oh, she lost her train of thought. While Amy's unfreezing, let's say thank you to everyone over in the chat for joining us tonight. We got Allison Faye here. We got Justin Davis. We got Andrew Hermes. We got T-Weave. Oh, our ring announcer, Jason Camden's here with us.
See you Saturday.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
well,
looks like we really lost Amy. She's trying.
It's that Kentucky internet. Hey, there's Willie Buck. I knew Willie Buck was out there somewhere. It's been a little quiet tonight. Well, I'm going to drop her down until she gets back. Derek. Yeah, Derek, thank you. You shot my show off. You shot the wheels off my show, sir. Thank you very much for that.
We'll see Derek again too. That's one of our top ring crew guys right there.
So she gone, so we'll see if she comes back. There she is.
I'm not sure what happened.
We missed you.
I know. I was like, I just text Pondwater. Did I lose you all? I don't know what happened.
Well, we blamed Derek for it.
Oh, totally. Okay. So I wanted to ask. You said you've done cage matches.
We've done one.
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 Where did you get the cage? Like, I want to know that.
Cages are us.
We rented the cage from down south in the New Orleans area. Technically, the guy that I bought my ring from and everything, I had a chance to buy the cage with it, but I actually sold it to Mustang Mike because I swore to my God that I would never do another cage match.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's just so much work and there's just so much that goes into it. There's so much prep. There's so much care, and there's the safety issues, and it's hard to do in a very clean manner on an independent level.
Sure.
You know, I don't have a wrestling school where I got 35 kids that I can just come and, you know, they're going to help me do everything that needs to be done today.
Right.
You know, we got a much smaller staff than that.
I gotcha.
An independent cage doesn't hang above the ring. I mean, you go up and you put it up there one side at a time. You have to attach it, and it's not just throwing zip ties around a cage. You actually have to use those metal clamps. What do you call them? The clamps that you pull it through, and you have to use a screwdriver to tighten them down.
Yeah.
I mean, you got that thing because you don't want it falling, or you're going to take out the front row.
Right. And it probably takes time to put it together. People are just kind of hanging out waiting, right?
Well, you do like an hour and a half, 2 hours of prep work before the show.
Right.
You still need about a 30 to 40 minute intermission to put the cage up. Now, a lot of people get cheap with it, and they'll either start the show and say every match is going to be a cage match because they don't want to touch it, or the first match will be a cage. They'll do that match, take it down, and then have the rest of the show, and then have the rest of the show like that.
Got you.
But I don't really, not every single match is going to be in the cage. That defeats the purpose for me.
It's not special.
But B, I don't really want to start the night off with that too, because this is epic. This is a big deal. This is the
Yeah.
absolute blow off. And the one cage we had, I mean, both guys bled too, so we would have had to deal with that as well. But yeah, I swore after that one I would never do another cage match. Steve Anthony and Barrett Brown, who wrestled this weekend, all these years later, they were in the first cage match and the only cage match in BIW history. That cage match was cursed. It was supposed to be, John Saxon was supposed to retire that night in the cage, and he blew his calf out the night before on a show, so he wasn't able to participate, and he actually never wrestled again. So it was, he handled it very well, but it was definitely something we were both sad about, because he had been with me since 07, and he was going to retire in that cage, and it was going to be a nice moment, and it was going to be a big deal. But he blew his calf out the night before at a random show in Georgia that he had never wrestled for him before. It was a small crowd. Wasn't a, it was a booking, but it wasn't. If he knew what was going to happen, he'd have definitely saved it for the night after with BIW. But when I bought the ring and the trailer and stuff from DJ, the cage was part of it. And I was like, I don't want that thing. I don't want it anywhere near my house. I don't want to tote it around. I don't have anywhere to put it. So Mustang Mike bought it from me for a very cheap deal just because I didn't want it. Now, as a caveat, I did say, hey, since I'm doing a good price here, just promise that if I ever do change my mind and want to torture myself, that you'll bring it up for me at just gas price. And he said yes. So, but I don't think I will ever take him up on that. So I don't think that'll ever happen.
And that's a good cage.
Oh yeah,
it was a really good quality cage. I refereed Rodney Mack and John Saxon in that cage.
Yeah.
Down in Homer.
Vordell Walker was trying to climb up it. Vordell's like 250, 260 all muscle.
Oh.
So while Anthony and Barrett were doing their thing in the cage, Vordell's on the outside trying to climb up. So in the cage did its job. It was ready. It wasn't floppy, flimsy, or anything.
Right.
Kind of intimidating to get into.
Yeah.
And especially with Rodney Mack and John Saxon. Because you talk about intensity.
Was it blue? Was it a blue cage?
No, it's a chain link fence cage. It's good cage.
Why do you say it like that? Like I'm an idiot. No.
It sounds like Dave hates those blue cages that run around these days.
That's probably true. That's probably true.
Hey, we got a good question from the chat. Kyle Davis from PCW back in the day.
I remember Kyle.
Does Josh remember Road Trip Lottery? After Uncut, a bunch of us went out that way. Chance Wyndham and Hayden were the drivers. LaMotta, Murdoch, Dalton, Tadlock, Josh and all others were all eligible.
Road Trip. I mean, I remember definitely road trips and different things, but I don't remember anything specific like that.
Stopped 3 different times to redraw. Took forever to get to Louisiana.
I do remember them coming from PCW to ACW Marshall every Saturday I booked out there for 10 months straight, and they were already there by the time I got there. So I'm sure they did that trip for a year and a half, something like that. But, Kyle was a part of Tadlock and Hayden and LaMotta, and Wally Darkman came over sometimes, Spoiler 2000, Christopher Hayden, Scott Murdoch, Andy Dalton. There was a lot of guys going through that ACW locker room while I was there, for sure.
So, okay, Road Trip, like, is that a show, or is that like you draw names to see who drives?
I think they just unloaded a car and was hoping that one of them was going to get to work. Is what it sounds like.
Well, I was booking the whole time I was there, so I probably wouldn't have participated in the who was going to get to work thing or anything. And usually at ACW, in all honesty, if you showed up, especially before I got there, if you showed up, like, they were going to put you to work. So there wasn't a huge question mark on if you were going to get to wrestle or not. I think when I showed up, I did change a few things and maybe ruffled a few feathers on that. It was I definitely got to know you're coming. Don't just show up. I need to know because I'm just so detailed to the point of like it drives me insane. I'm too detailed. There's a right answer, and I'm not it. But I don't like the other answer either, where people don't put in any effort. The answer is somewhere in the middle. I just haven't ever been able to find it.
I've worked Marshall before, but it wasn't for ACW. It was
Probably LOL at that time, huh?
I just remember it was an outdoor show.
Okay. I know
The highlight of it
LOL.
was a dude. The heat got out of control, and the guy was coming after Joey Corman, and he had a bottle of Boone's Farm.
That happened a lot in the
Joey
Marshall
told
and
me
Gladewater area.
Joey told me wait till he sticks his head between the ropes and don't miss.
Oh.
Luckily, cooler heads prevailed, but this guy had a bottle of Boone's Farm.
Yeah, there were some nights, not just at Marshall, but Gladewater with TEW that Sean Cordova ran. They wrestled outside.
That may have been Gladewater.
It sounds like Gladewater.
I think I worked with Paige. I worked with Paige and Marshall though.
Well, Paige would go out to Gladewater too, though.
Yeah, Paige and Joey's who I went to Gladewater. I know it was for Cordova. It was for Cordova.
Joey trained Cordova, so there was definitely contacts and ends there. Joey was on a lot of the TEW shows. I was there one night when it got out of control when the crowd hit the ring, and there was me and Scott Murdoch have had a very up and down relationship, but that night we ended up taking a stick from a fan that was trying to swing it, and we were both holding the stick. And we just looked at each other and gave each other that nod, like "Thank you, brother, thank you."
My gosh.
And we were like best friends that night.
Scott Murdoch's another one that you look at, and there's no doubt why he's called Murdoch. I mean,
one of the best big men I've ever seen at the Southern Independent level. And this is, I met Scott in my first year, 2007, and I'm still saying that in 2024. Scott was just that good.
He reminded me more of Terry Gordy,
right?
Than Murdoch, than Dick Murdoch.
His legit trainer was Dr. Death Steve Williams. That's who trained him.
Yeah, but I always saw Terry Gordy in him when I saw him in the ring.
Yeah, I can see that.
Probably a legit 275.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Romping, stomping, graveyard destruction. He was
a big
awesome.
Silas from the Southern Six is who I watch, and I see Terry Gordy. Like every time I see him wrestle, I'm like, man, there's a lot of Terry Gordy in there. And I think he played him in the movie, right? Didn't Silas play him in Iron Claw?
I believe so.
Yeah. So I mean,
Amy, what did you do to your microphone?
What's wrong now?
You just got really loud.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's back down now. I mean, it blew me out.
Oh, sorry. I swear I don't.
It'll be all right.
Maybe it's the steel cage, like just the aura of it. Talking about it is just messing everything up.
So now, not only can I never do one again, I can't even talk about it again.
Apparently not.
I hope one of these days you'll relax your stance on it. It just seems like to me Fountain Hill's made for a cage match.
Do you know how far you have to bring stuff to get to the middle for Fountain Hill? Like, if we were going to bring a cage in, it would be like West Monroe, where you can drive the truck all the way to the ring, all the way to where you're putting it up. Fountain Hill, you have to park a good ways outside,
through the front doors,
then go through side doors, then walk to the middle of the gym. No.
Like I said, Brookhaven is custom made for steel cage matches.
Yes. Brookhaven would be a good one. Brookhaven. Plus, that's closer to where Mustang Mike lives. So if I was going to call in my favor and just get the cage for gas money, it would be a good one for him as well. Because Morgan City and Brookhaven is my closest. That's the closest one to where Mustang lives. So,
well, I'd like to do another one.
I doubt it. I'm sure you'll get.
You've been consistent as long as I've known you about cage matches.
I am sure you will get to do another cage match in your lifetime.
It
just won't be at BIW. We're gonna do some other fun stuff, but probably not the cage.
I definitely want to hear about your upcoming, because I believe the one in December, Like, I'm thinking I'll be off for Christmas break, and I'm thinking I might want to travel down to wherever it is. So, where I
Okay.
know you said you had November, December coming up.
Yeah, we have such a busy stretch. We have October 26th, which is this Saturday. That's in Fountain
Yes.
Hill, Arkansas. Then we have November 2nd, so next weekend in Brookhaven, Mississippi. And then we're in Spring Hill November 16th, so just a 2-week
Ooh,
window
yeah.
where that
Okay.
match will take place. And
Yes.
then the December one, the one that you might be off for, we haven't announced a lot of the matches yet because we got to wait to see who's champions and whatnot after these. But it's December 28th, and it's going to be called No More Lies. And that'll be in West Monroe, which is kind of our main town. We all go out to eat after that one. We usually have 60 to 70 people eating at a Mexican restaurant after that show, hanging out. So that's kind of fun. Hotels, there's tons of them around West Monroe, where in Fountain Hill, you have to drive an hour and a half to find one. So it's
At
good
West
for
Monroe, there's one
accommodations.
right at the end of the parking lot from where we eat.
That's where I always put Chase Stevens up
It's
at
good.
that
That's
hotel.
smart.
Yeah, because I mean, anybody that knows Chase knows he can throw back a few.
And
And I would much
and
rather,
people will buy him drinks.
yes,
So
Oh, I'm sure.
and he will accept them until you stop. So you want to buy him 10 drinks, he will drink 10 drinks. And you get to talk to him and hear the amazing stories while you buy him these 10 drinks. So
Mhm.
it's really worth it for both parties.
yeah,
But
we
that
won't
way
be
Chase
repeating
just-
any of them on this podcast. That's the hell of it is. I'd love to hear Chase. I'd love to hear him tell stories, but I can't bring him on here to let him tell them.
Well, you can bring Chase and Cassidy together, and every time Chase is about to say something he shouldn't, Cassidy could insert the family-friendly version of the story, and you could just keep it going like that, and it would still be entertaining. But you could keep it PG to PG-13 that way.
Yeah.
You won't be able to keep it PG-13 with just Chase.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Does Chase have any stories about you, Pondwater?
no.
Oh,
He could probably come up with one though.
I'd very say.
But
He
one
could
of
probably
these nights-
convince me that he has one.
Well,
Yeah.
in my wilder days, I would have. I mean, if Chase would have coming around a few years ago, then I'd just got a room there next to that restaurant, and then I would have tried to hang with him, which I know I can't.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't met anybody that's drinking with Chase. Like, not really. I know one night me and Palmwater had some drinks at a lounge or something after one of the BIW show. I don't know. We bought a big.
It was a club or something.
Yeah, they sponsored. They sponsored
Yeah.
Oh, they
the
did?
show.
Oh,
we got
cool.
to go
Bar.
afterwards, and we bought this big tub of shots, which was like equivalent to, I don't know the exact number, but I think it was like 75 to 100 shots were in this tub.
Oh my
And-
gosh.
And me, Dave, and my friend William drank the whole tub. So, and I think we went back. I think we went back for a little more too, if I remember correctly. Not a
Oh,
whole
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
but
Oh, that song, the more I drink, the more I drink. That's based on a true story.
now this was many years ago.
Yeah, I think
this
I
was-
just started with you.
Yeah, this was like an introduction to Dave, and it's like, oh wow, he's a wild party animal. This is what we're getting with Dave. No, it was just that one night.
Yeah,
He's had a few drinks at the Mexican restaurant here and there, but only when Stephanie was going to be the one driving back.
yeah. Steph said if I've got a designated driver, or that night that we actually stayed in Monroe that night, so Steph didn't have to drive that far.
Right. So West Monroe is one of our easiest. If you were going to drive from a distance,
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the best ones to come to because we always have a good crowd in West Monroe. It's always going to be our top talent because out of all of our towns, that's our main town. That's the one we're the most focused on. As far as storylines and outside talent and stuff. Jeremiah Plunkett from NWA will be on that show. Caleb Conley from NWA and TNA in different places will be on that show. So that wouldn't be a bad one to circle your calendar and make the drive down for. December 28th.
Season's beatings.
I try to avoid names that happen that often as well, too.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not guilty. I did a few here and there. But we try not to have, Horror Fest or Seasons Beatings or whatever. There's several.
My
other
Bloody
factors.
Valentine.
Yeah, we've done Valentine's Day shows, but we didn't call it Bloody Valentine. One of the most profitable shows in BIW history was on Valentine's Day, which is also my wife's birthday. So,
Yeah, I remember.
it was a good one.
Yeah,
though.
I found out I don't take bookings on my wife's birthday anymore.
Yeah, that's probably best.
She don't complain much, but when she does, I took note of it. And she didn't really complain. She just gave me that. Oh, that's my birthday weekend. I'm like,
Kristen told me that too, but I still went with it. We've done shows on my birthday too, but my birthday is not on Valentine's Day. So
He actually has no idea because I told him to coach me today, but I'm really just building a master free program. So subscribe and wait for the end of the video. But Matt, let me know what
Did I lose y'all again?
no, we're listening.
Oh.
We're trying to hear what that is.
I swear to God, I'm gonna beat somebody. Hold on.
There she goes. That's why her husband doesn't like me.
okay.
Let's talk. We're gonna talk about the upcoming events, and we're gonna take them backwards.
Okay.
We talked about royal treatment. We got that coming up November 16th at the Spring Hill Civic Center. Down on the Bayou tournament qualifying match, we have the Nightmare Jeremiah from Southern Royalty against Ray Fury.
Yeah, and again, we talked about that one earlier, but this one's very important to the tournament because whoever wins is in, but this also affects Southern Royalty because if Jeremiah loses, who's going to be in? If Jeremiah wins, that knocks out Rob Love, Angel Camacho, Alex Arsenal. So there's a lot of factors kind of in play there.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, there could be somebody that really wants in the tournament that maybe is in Southern Royalty that doesn't even want Jeremiah to win because of all the things that are attached.
Sounds exactly like Rob Love.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So, that's the big one. That's the main event for the night.
Ooh, moonshine.
Okay, Moonshine got the Brady Pierce treatment, I see. Okay.
Moonshine.
But yeah,
I've been around. I mean, I used to referee for Moonshine when I was in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Moonshine is an incredible talent. Steve Anthony is arguably one of the best that ever has done it.
I've been calling him the best in the South since 2007, and I haven't changed my vote.
Yeah,
So,
you can't.
And again, I might be biased. He's wrestled for me probably 80 to 100 times over the years, but I mean, he ran Harley Race's wrestling school. So Harley Race wouldn't have trusted somebody that couldn't handle it to do it.
Steve Anthony got onto me in the ring one night, and rightfully so, because he is so good that you start to watch him.
Right.
And I tell everybody, work, don't watch. But he yelled at me. He said, "I challenge you to work with me." But I mean, he was right. And I've been mindful, of that ever since. And this has been quite a few years ago. But
I pay Steve Anthony, and he yells at me.
But I mean,
that's how intense he is. He's just so focused on being the best that he can be.
Yes, he does, and I think the world of him. And I get so excited when I get nervous when I work with him because I don't want to disappoint him. Right. And
Steve Anthony versus Caleb Conley early this year.
My head almost exploded.
Might be the best match in BIW history. I can't say it 100% because 17 years is a long time, but it's got to be top 5, and it might be the best. I could be biased because it was this year.
It was pretty special
in my head, but it's definitely a top 5er.
Frankie Thomas versus Haas Holding.
This is one that the fans are really excited for because they both lost last time in Spring Hill, but they both had huge crowd reactions in different ways. Frankie being booed, Haas being cheered. So this one's going to be interesting. Both really need a win. Both are really good at getting the crowd into it. I expect this one to be a good match.
Yeah, the crowd hates Frankie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mia Friday versus Callie
Calalin. I can't say it.
We're all gonna butcher her name, so we'll just we'll leave it up there on the screen.
Calentia.
But
I don't want to say it wrong, but I think I've done her more of a disservice just butchering it.
Right. Just leave it up there on the screen. It's spelled correctly, so it's there for everybody to see. I think it's Calentia, but I could be saying it slightly wrong.
Calentita, that works for me.
You're so smart. That is probably exactly what it is.
I'll learn it November 16th and report back.
Exactly. But of course, she's from Hybrid as well, so that'll be another debut for us. This is another debut. Valentino and Eli Perez will be debuting. This is their first time in. I'm excited about having them in. Lots of energy. Then, of course, you got Southern Royalty members that have been with me a long, long time, especially Rob.
Yeah, those pictures were taken a long, long time ago.
Especially Arsenal's.
I had to look twice. Is that Arsenal? And but Vatos kind of loco. I like it. I like it a lot.
I'm a fan of the name as well.
So that's what we got coming up in Spring Hill. I'm looking forward. I've heard good things. I hate that I missed the last show there, and I'm looking forward to getting there.
Yeah, this will only be our second time in, but it's looking like there's going to be a third time next year. Obviously, we don't know that yet, but I have a good feeling that after November 16th, we'll have another one.
Oh, this is a good match.
This will be in Brookhaven.
Yep, this one's in Brookhaven. Right now, it's scheduled to be for the Southern title, but if Bam Bam loses it this Saturday, it'll just be a number one contenders match. So either way, the match is going to happen. But there's a good chance that it's for the Southern title. So MLW superstar Alex Kane is going to have a chance to walk out BIW Southern champion. Just another title to add to his long list of titles he's won.
I'm looking forward to working with Alex Kane.
This should be a good one. And that's the main event anywhere in the South. That's another, just like on that last show. Like you could put Ray Fury and Jeremiah, and you could put Steve Anthony and Moonshine as the main event on any show in the South, and the fans would believe it. This is another one, and that's another one of those kind of matches.
I saw this graphic. I saw this graphic and got excited for it because we don't see Alex Arsenal in a solo opportunity against somebody the caliber of Steve Anthony very often.
Right, exactly. This is me challenging him, basically. I mean, I've told him I think he has potential to be one of the top guys, but now you got to go, prove it. And there's no better proving spot than with Steve Anthony because he'll smack you across your face.
Yeah.
If you're not there, you're going to know quick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
This is a sleeper match right here. It won't break my heart if DJ referees this one.
I'm not sure who I'm giving that one to yet. There's 6 matches on that show.
Well, it won't break my heart if I referee this one, but I'm saying if I had to watch this match, it wouldn't break my heart.
Well, there's 6 matches, so y'all are each getting 3. So, you might get that one. We'll see.
Why is it a grudge match? What do they not get along?
Well,
Southern
Steve
Royalty.
Anthony started
Southern Royalty. Okay.
Yeah, Steve Anthony started Southern Royalty.
Okay.
He went away many years ago because Southern Royalty's been around since 2019. So as a Southern Independent stable, that's a long time. We're deep into 2024. They were formed kind of early to mid 2019. So that's 5 years plus of a stable being around, and that's a long time for a Southern Independent promotion. But Steve Anthony started it. When he went away, Rob Love became the leader. Steve Anthony went away for about 3 years, not quite, but close. When he came back, Rob Love made sure to let him know that he wasn't allowed back in and he wasn't going to be the leader. And, that's just how it was. Him and Anthony had a match. It didn't go the way Steve Anthony wanted it to go. So now he's trying to punch his way through all the Southern Royalty members to get his hands on Rob Love again.
Gotcha.
And he's already beat Jeremiah. Now he's trying to handle Alex Arsenal.
Gotcha.
So
this is going to be a good one.
Oh my goodness!
This is
Vladimir and Ray.
BIW needs more Koloff.
this is one of those ones that a lot of people that listen to y'all's podcast, this will probably be their match of the night, because I know y'all have a lot of the, the Mississippi and the Coast fans and different things that listen. These are two of the guys on the Coast that are about as popular as you can get. So with them meeting, it's going to be one that could end up being a sleeper, just like Alex Arsenal and Steve Anthony. But how many times can you say sleeper on one show? Like, you can't use that card too many times. So
no, I mean, these guys put on a banger anytime they put them together, and they're together. They work against each other quite a bit.
Right.
But Ray Fury has gotten better and better with age. But Koloff completely revitalized. I mean, he dropped a Koloff. I mean, he got dedicated to training, and he brought his game to another level. And when you get Koloff now, I mean, he's a genuine threat to anybody he gets in the ring with. He's very, very successful. And he's he's very physical. That cannonball is no joke.
Yeah, you've taken it, right?
I have.
That's what I thought.
And I didn't have a choice.
Right.
So, but I mean, this is going to be. I really think it's going to be a great match.
But the 3 matches you've shown for the Brookhaven card already, you could stop right there, and that's worth $15.
Oh yeah.
And we still got more, but that right there is worth that.
And now we come on to this.
Yeah, this is another one. Muddy Waters is super over in Brookhaven, Mississippi. And then Rob Love is the most hated man in Brookhaven, Mississippi. So you kind of put that dynamic together and then throw Camacho in there, 450 plus pounds of just monster. It's going to be a good one.
And that's not hyperbole.
And
he says that Rob is the most hated man in Brookhaven. I mean, they hate Angel. But not the whole crowd. He's got his people. But I mean, Camacho don't make a bunch of friends and influence a bunch of people. But Rob Love, I genuinely am concerned that he's going to get shot one night.
Oh my!
We've had somebody in West Monroe wait outside with a knife for him. I got hit with a chair one time trying to protect Rob Love.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, you did.
I had a bruise up and down my arm. There's been Coke thrown, chairs thrown, water thrown, popcorn thrown. There's been times where security tried to fight Rob Love. Like, not people I necessarily brought with me, but like security from the building got mad at Rob Love and wanted to fight him. So the own security wanted to fight him.
Right.
I mean, that's heat. That's heat right there.
If it was the 1980s, I've told Rob this, I would have told him to cause a riot. We would be in the newspaper, and we would sell out the next 6 times we're in the town. But it's not 1980s no more, and that doesn't work like that. And we won't be allowed back in the building if we cause a riot, so let's not.
Exactly. And he may get shanked going to the ring, leaving the ring,
And we're not overstating this.
Oh no! I mean, I could tell
it got so bad
of people wanting to fight Rob Love.
It's gotten so bad. I think it was in West Monroe. It got so bad I was concerned being near him.
Yeah.
And then, but you take Muddy Waters, man. These two guys. When you think Gio's good, when you get JTG with him, man. It is something.
And they're both good individually, but together they're special. So
this show is, I mean, you could just go watch the crowd and how they react to Rob Love. That would be worth the admission, probably.
I've been soaked more than once from drinks thrown at Rob.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it's just water and we're lucky, but when it's Coke and stuff, it's real sticky and
somebody's spit cup.
Yeah, there was a little kid at the last West Monroe show that spit on Rob, and I had to comment that.
Oh my gosh!
Probably somebody that was 11 years old, maybe younger than that.
Oh, Jesus.
Here's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have a bad show.
No.
You have loaded Brookhaven up. This is the show you need to go to, Amy. It's 45 minutes from my house.
I know, November 2nd. I have to.
But
We'll talk later. No.
but you got Christian Blake.
Yep.
Christian Blake.
This is a match that they both wanted for years and years and years, and it finally happened at AWA earlier this year. And then I reached out and said I wanted to do it as well because it was on my radar. And he was like, "Man, I waited all these years to get one match with him, and now I'm getting two in a 3-month window. I love it." So like they wanted each other. They're getting their hands on each other. It should be for the Deep South Heritage title, but of course there is a chance that Barrett loses it Saturday. This match will still happen even if he does, though.
And Barrett Brown is just incredible anyway. But Amy, Christian Blake, you remember that story I told you when I was in Homa, that woman wanted to kill me?
Yep.
It was over Christian Blake. I reversed the decision. He was wrestling Houston Carson. He pinned him, but they were all in the ropes and the referee missed it. I went out and told the referee what had happened. And they restarted the match and Christian lost. And man, that woman wanted to kill me over him.
Oh my.
He's another one that from the first time I seen him until now, it's just such a difference. He's just morphed into such a talented wrestler. And you always knew like the love of wrestling was there, the passion was there, the work ethic was there, but he's just been able to put all the tools together and kind of take it to that next level. And Barrett is one of the best, and he's been one of the best for a long time. And this is the last match on the show, but it's a BIW kind of legends match. All these guys have been with me for over 10 years. They've all held titles in BIW before. So we're putting them in a triple threat together and kind of seeing who walks out on top.
This is going to be an incredible match.
In some capacity. They've like Apoc's wrestled Jeremiah and Frankie a million times each.
Former champion.
Yep, he's former Southern champion. Frankie's a former Deep South Heritage champion. Jeremiah's a 2-time tag champion. So all these guys have held titles in BIW, and they've all been with me for longer than 10 years. There's not a lot of independent wrestling promotions that can put a match on where every participant in it's been with them longer than a decade. And really, if I did the math, my guess, Frankie's been with me 15 years. Jeremiah's been with me about 15 years, and Apoc's been with me probably 12 or 13. I'm just saying 10 to be safe. It's probably more like they've all been with me 12 years at least.
That's awesome.
So, right as soon as I started refereeing, I refereed for Apoc and Tim Storm when they were the Dark Circle as a tag team. So I go way back with Apoc.
Right.
I go back with the 10 years I've been with you, Josh, with Frankie, and a little further with Jeremiah because I met him at Ego.
Right.
There's not you've stacked. Digging Deep is stacked. It ought to be changed the name to Stacked High.
It is a really, really good one. I'm looking forward to that one.
That's an early Christmas present for Brookhaven. My God Almighty, that is incredible.
I try to balance the shows to where
this needs to be on an pay-per-view.
Yeah, there's not going to be a bad match out of those. That's for sure.
Man, I am so impressed with that card from top to bottom.
It's one of my favorites of the year. We've had a couple that I really liked, but that's up there. At the end of the year, I always like to kind of look back and see which one I thought was going to be the best show of the year and which one actually was the best show of the year. Because a lot of times on paper, you think, oh, this, and then you get there and it was fine, but it wasn't quite what you were hoping for. And then you go into one that you thought was kind of filler and it amazes you and it blows you away. And it's like, whoa, this show wasn't supposed to be the big one. What? The crowd was super into it. 400 plus people bought tickets. Like, what is going on? So let me grab a charger.
Well, speaking on that,
let me grab a phone charger right quick before we start talking about this one.
Okay.
I see the little red light blinking.
All right. But I mean, to what he said, I've worked a BIW show and, we're talking about matches you don't want to follow. It was either first or second match of the night. It was Angel Camacho versus Larry D with TNA fame, Impact. And man, that match was magic. Larry D came out and captivated that crowd. He took Angel to a different level than Angel had been taken. It was, you don't normally see that kind of physicality in two big men like that. I don't mean like they were beating on each other. I mean like trading holds, getting around the ring. I mean, at the end of that match, I knew I'd been part of something special, and I couldn't tell you any other match on that show that night. And it was the second match of the night. I mean, it was just, they stole the show. I wouldn't want to have to go going after them was, I don't know that anybody was going to do anything that night after Larry D and Angel Camacho.
I'm still trying to get this to charge, but remind me, I have a match on there that I actually think was better than them that night.
That night?
Yeah, that same night. But let me
well, we might refresh my memory, but that's the one that sticks out. And I mean, if you were to ask me my favorite matches that I've ever refereed for you, I mean that one's going to come right up. That match had me on such a high that I didn't get sleepy on the drive home. And I didn't go to bed immediately when I got home.
Yeah, also that night was Mike Bennett versus Danny Chance. And Danny Chance swears that's the best match he's ever had.
Oh.
And they delivered. To me, Larry D and Camacho was the second best match that night. And Mike Bennett and Danny Chance was the best match that night.
I remember that.
But to me, that was the best match of the night.
All right.
Okay, I should be charging now. So
now this Saturday night, we're going to be in Fountain Hill, Arkansas, where all hell seems to break loose every time we go to Fountain Hill, Arkansas.
Now, some of your match graphics are going to be off on this one.
I only did the two that I think I only did two on here because I was going to talk to you about, because this shows the definition of cards subject to change.
Yeah, no Ray Fury. So,
but this didn't change.
No,
and I am super excited for Steve Anthony versus Barrett Brown. This was supposed to happen a few months ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, Barrett got injured the night before, and Barrett really looks up to Steve Anthony. When Barrett was getting going, one of the guys that kind of took him under his wing was Steve Anthony. So when Steve Anthony went away for 3 years, he never said he was retired. He never said it was over, but he never said he was coming back either. So a lot of people kind of just assumed, all right, I guess I'm never going to be in the ring with Steve Anthony. And Barrett was one of those. So when I called him and told him that I was booking the match, even though Barrett can be a little cocky prick sometimes, he was touched. He was excited about this one. You know, a chance to show Steve Anthony that he's on his level or better, or, you know, whatever ends up happening. But just a chance to show him what he's learned, and a chance to show him that, you know, he appreciates him, but also is trying to be better than him. So I'm really looking forward to this one. This is another one that it's not the main event, but it could be. It definitely could be.
I'd hate to have to go after him.
Yeah.
And then we have Ray Lynn. Ray Lynn versus Cassandra Golden for the BIW Women's Championship.
This is the rematch that since we weren't able to get a winner in the match that you got beat up in, we're coming back. We're going to try and get a winner on this night, and I'm letting you ref it. So try not to get beat up again.
I think I can manage because, like I said, that was on me.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of felt bad that she got fined because, I mean, I knew better. That one was on me. I mean, I'm not saying that what I did was wrong.
Well,
I'm just saying that I knew that the potential was there to get hurt.
If you want, I can take money out of yours for this show, November 2nd, November 16th, and put it in Ray Lynn's.
No. I don't feel that bad about it.
Okay, I was just saying. I was just checking.
I don't feel that bad about it.
That's fair.
I love her purple hair. I'm not going to lie. Even though she smacked you around pun on her. But I like Cassandra. We've had her on. She's very good. This is going to be good.
And I don't know if you know this, Amy, but Ray Lynn's on Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did Megan tell us that?
And,
Or was she on Rise? Is that the right person?
She was
Am I-
no Megan hung out with her last week after the show in Pittsburgh. She wrestled in
Yes.
Pittsburgh last weekend.
Yes. Yes.
Megan was in the chat a few minutes ago.
yeah.
I seen her. Hello, tag team partner.
But this is going to be a good match. It was a good match last time. I don't expect it to be any different this time. But I think that Cassandra. Well, I don't think Cassandra. Now that she's blown her top once, I don't think that she's gonna. I don't think that she'll fall for those tricks as easily this time.
We'll see. Cassandra usually beats people 1, 2, 3, moves on to the next challenge. This is somebody that she's kind of been a thorn in her side this year. They had the triple threat. They've had the singles match that, ended on the floor with a count out. And now they're having this. And Cassandra usually doesn't have to wrestle somebody this many times before they know they're not winning.
Yeah.
Oh, good,
This one's interesting.
And then we have a tag team title match. Horsepower defending against Los Carnales.
And I believe you got that one right, unlike our one earlier. This will be their debut coming in. We're always looking for new tag teams and good tag teams. And that Emilio, who's on the left there, he messaged me probably 3 or 4 years ago, the first time he messaged me. And we've just had contact this whole time. And here we are, finally this Saturday, October 26th, making it happen after all these years of communication. And that's one thing I don't like when I get ghosted or I don't get a response. Even if the answer is no or I don't have anything or whatever, I always respond. Now, if you're somebody that's messaging every day with something new, I will eventually stop. But if you message me the first time or two, I will definitely respond. And then if you wait a few months and check in and message me again, I will definitely respond. And Emilio's one of those guys that just every 5 months, 6 months, he's checked in and I've been like, not yet. And now we finally have some. So
awesome. And they're getting a tag title match. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the thing with us only having 5 or 6 matches. Yes, we do have it to where you got to win some matches and build up and get your tag title shot sometimes. But because we don't have that many tag matches on a show and we don't have that many opportunities to move up and down the rankings of the tag part, you can get a tag title shot pretty quick at BIW sometimes. So they're one of the ones that's kind of fallen into that category of we needed a challenger. Horsepower hadn't defended on the last 2 shows. Here we are. Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Awesome.
And being a champion that'll keep Nate out from being in the down in the Bayou tournament.
Now it goes till this Saturday. So if they lose this Saturday, their name can still be in the hat. So this is the cutoff. Nobody after this Saturday that's a champion will be in the tournament. So if they did happen to lose, one member of Horsepower could end up with one of those last 6 spots.
This just seems like a tournament like this is right up Nate's alley.
Oh, he loves Japanese wrestling. I love Japanese wrestling. Me and him talk about Japanese wrestling at 4 a.m. a lot.
He loves all wrestling.
I know. He's one of this tournament. I know Steve Anthony. I know Barrett Brown. There's so many guys that I know would love to be in this tournament. And yeah, they're not all going to be in the first one. But the beauty of it is we're doing it again in 2026. And if you weren't in the first one, maybe you can be in the second one. And I know that we'll have some people that kind of like a Royal Rumble entrant. I've been in 4 down on the Bayou tournaments, whatever. There's going to be some people that are going to be in both. But there's also going to be at least 5 to 6 people, maybe more, that wasn't in the first one. So there will be a lot of guys that weren't in this first one that'll be in that second one. So it's going to be interesting. And who knows, as it evolves and things change, we might even let champions in it. And you might get to win it and challenge one of the other champions to walk out a double champion. There's lots of ways we can take it. It's just this very first year, no champions and no direct contenders. Because if you won it, you would be a champion, and we would rather just avoid that. Right. So nobody that's challenging in November or December, or nobody that has a belt will be in the tournament.
Now, which
Okay.
one is Nate? I'm sorry, I don't know horsepower.
He's the one doing the little prayer hands at
In the
end.
blue?
Yeah.
In the blue? Okay, that's Nate. Okay.
Yep.
What's the other guy's name?
Eddie Martinez.
Eddie Martinez.
Eddie.
And
Okay.
Eddie's somebody that if you go Google, if you go to YouTube, he's wrestled Matt Taven. He's wrestled Matt Riddle. He's wrestled a lot of top guys. When they bring them into Texas, a lot of times the guy they pick for them to face is Eddie Martinez.
Is Eddie Martinez? Cool.
Mustafa Ali. He's wrestled all those guys in the last 6 months.
Oh.
So Eddie's one of those guys that has that buzz and that it factor. And I tell Nate all the time, and not that he has any issues or jealousy or whatever, but I just want Nate to know from my perspective that as a promoter, I think he's just as good as Eddie. So just because Eddie's getting those opportunities don't mean you're not going to get some of those opportunities. And I remember the night that I let him wrestle Caleb Conley. He was like genuinely touched because like he's not usually when a promoter goes and picks somebody up and spends the money on the airplane ticket, they're usually not in the ring across from Nate Collins. It doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be. It doesn't mean it shouldn't be. Just so far in life, it hasn't happened that much. It probably will, but so far it hasn't happened. So for him to have a one-on-one match with a guy that just touched down from Charlotte, North Carolina, that's been on TV, that's been all over the world. He's in England right now, defending the Caleb Conley's in England right now, defending the JCP American Championship for ICP. So like Nate was the guy that was chosen to wrestle him in a one-on-one encounter, and I could tell it really meant something to Nate because a lot of times he's not the one that gets to do that.
Sure.
And he showed up and showed out.
It was a good match.
Yeah, he had a great match with him.
Awesome.
And I want a lot of our guys to know that. I try and spread it around. I think Ray Fury's probably gotten the most of our fly-ins. But Steve Anthony, Barrett Brown, Eddie, Nate, they've all been in there too. Camacho. We try and spread the love around a little bit.
So I only did these three because we've had, as we said, cards subject to change.
Right.
Rob Love's not going to be in, and he's going to miss his title shot against Bam Bam Malone.
Him and Bam Bam were supposed to fight 2 out of 3 falls. They're the only 2 undefeated people this year. They've been on a collision course for the last 3 or 4 shows. They're the only 2 people that haven't lost all year. Well, Rob can't make it. So now a new member of Southern Royalty will step in, and Alex Arsenal is going to take on Bam Bam. It's still going to be a best 2 out of 3 falls. We promised the fans a 2 out of 3 falls. We're going to deliver. Alex has promised that when he wins, he's going to hand the title over to Rob anyway. So Rob might, I don't know if I'm going to let that stand, but there's a chance that Rob Love at least walks out with the title in Brookhaven, Mississippi, November 2nd. I don't know if I'm going to let him keep it because I don't know how I feel about somebody handing it over.
Yeah.
But there is a chance Alex gives it to him, and we have to deal with the situation from there. So we'll see what happens this Saturday. But Bam and Alex Arsenal in the best 2 out of 3 falls match is going to be amazing.
Well, I'm going to politic for that one because I told Stephanie, I don't think I have ever refereed a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Okay.
Oh.
I can't remember ever doing it. Now we've shown that with my insistence that I've met people in Natchez that senior moments are a regular occurrence. But growing up, that every Saturday night I was going to watch the television main event was going to be 2 out of 3 falls. 2 out of 3 falls used to be the norm. It's more of a gimmick match now.
Right.
And it's old school, baby. I love it. And and I don't ever remember refereeing a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Well, the other ref is James Beard. I'm sure in all his time, he's never had a 2 out of 3 falls. So,
I'd be willing to bet he did a 2 out of 3 falls match at the Sportatorium.
Right. So, but and then the other match, since there was going to be a 6-man tag, now with Ray and Rob not being able to be at the show, it's just going to be Angel Camacho and Jeremiah versus APOC and Rook in a regular tag match.
Okay.
So we'll have 2 tag matches on that particular show. And APOC and Southern Royalty go back to the beginning of Southern Royalty hating each other. So there's definitely always room for Angel Camacho and APOC to hit each other in the face. That's for sure.
I don't know who APOC wants to hit more, or Rob Love, or I mean, not Rob Love.
Well,
It would have been Rob Love, but yeah, Camacho.
He dislikes Rob Love more, but he's been able to beat Rob sometimes, and Rob's beat him sometimes. He's never been able to pin in all the attempts. Angel Camacho, whether it was a tag, a 6-man, a singles, they've had lumberjack matches, they've had title matches, they've done
lumberjack match.
Yeah, we did a lumberjack.
Could you imagine trying to push Angel back in the ring? Like, oh my gosh!
Imagine all them trying to catch APOC when he's flying through the ropes to the floor.
Oh goodness!
You know, but yeah, he's never pinned Angel in all these attempts. They've probably been in the ring 10 to 12 times together. Never pinned Angel. So he hates Rob more, but he would rather pin Angel Camacho.
Other than Bam Bam Malone, I can't remember the last time I saw Angel get pinned.
He's only been pinned 3 times in BIW history. Twice by Bam Bam Malone and once by Vordell Walker. But he also holds 2 wins over Vordell, so he does have the...
That must have been before I came back.
Maybe so. We did a best of 3 between Angel and Vordell. And, you know, the winner went on to get a title shot, which is how Angel beat APOC eventually. But, yeah, their last match was in Natchez, Dave. So there was something that actually happened in Natchez. They did have a third match in Natchez. So I think it was on the last Natchez show we've done. So,
well, let me ask you, at the last event, Chase Stevens didn't come alone.
He sure did.
And Cowboy James Storms made his presence known at the end of the show.
Oh,
yeah. I didn't know that James Storm was going to be at BIW until about 10 o'clock that morning. Chase Stevens sent me a message saying, "Do you mind if Storm rides with me?" And I said, "Storm, as in James?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Yeah, that'll be fine." And I'm thinking Chase is playing because it's Chase. Like, I don't believe hardly anything that comes out of his mouth unless it's like right after his match. Because like the 10 minutes after his match, he's emotional and you can see like his love of wrestling, and you get like 10 minutes of real Chase Stevens. That 10 minutes, I believe things that come out of his mouth, but the other 23 hours and 50 minutes that were around each other, I don't. So like, I was like, yeah, sure, James can come. Well, then he sent me a picture of them in the Jeep riding and smiling and stuff. And sure enough, when Chase gets there early, mind you, which he never gets there early, so I'm going to thank James Storm for that one, being the adult in the group. You know, they get there, James Storms is there. So we start figuring out something that we might can do.
No, he's not exaggerating. I mean, we got the show was about to start, and we knew that Chase was in Vicksburg. We knew he was at El Sombrero on the patio.
Yeah. A lot of times, as long as I know he's in the city, I'm okay. I just have to reach out and make sure I know he's in the city.
Yeah.
And as long as he's in the city, he's never missed a match. He's never not shown up. But you just got to make sure he's in the right city. So
yeah, we looked up and that's James Storm.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So the fans did get a surprise that night. And Ginger, one of our long-term fans, one of our most diehard fans, that's one of her favorite wrestlers. Steve Anthony, Bam Bam Malone, Robert Gibson, and James Storm.
Her birthday's this weekend, so Happy birthday, Miss Ginger.
So she got a little early birthday present with James Storm.
Oh.
So, and his line at the merch table was wrapped around.
Oh yeah.
Bam Bam, poor guy. He was standing by James, and I was like, we had a good crowd like we usually do in West Monroe. And I try and ask everybody, were you able to sell some stuff? Did you move a few things? Blah, blah, blah. And Bam said, I was standing by James. And he didn't follow it up with anything. He just had a depressed look on his face. And I was like, all right, I know what happened there. Bam Bam just got pushed to the side for this one show. He normally does very good at the merch table. But this one show, James Storm had, 100, maybe a little more than 100, waiting in line for him. And Bam Bam's just kind of standing there. Just kind of standing. Maybe he could have held the pin for Chase or for James. Or, maybe he could have done something. But
Robinson said one of my favorite matches was of the Naturals was at AMW. Was 6 Sides of Steel. Great match. Always a big fan of Chase and James Storm.
I remember before I started promoting, I went to a show that Cassidy promoted at the Paradox Bar here in Monroe that only had probably 30 people in attendance, and I was one of the 30. I ended up meeting the first BIW referee, the first BIW cameraman at this show. I think it was semi-main, but it was AMW versus the Naturals, and they went out there and had a 20-minute slugfest that you could have had in front of 600 people, and it would have been fine. But they worked their butt off in front of 30 people that night, and I always remembered that. So I knew that, like, if I ever did book Chase, that it didn't matter if we had 50 people or 500 or what. He was going to go out and give me the best he had. And it was going to be believable. It was going to be intense. It was going to be different than other matches on the show. So I'm a big Chase Stevens fan for sure.
I saw America's Most Wanted. Wrestle Dory Funk and Terry Funk in Tampa, Florida at Wrestle Reunion, and they were AMW was the champions at the time. And I'll tell you what, those two old men, they gave them young guys all they wanted.
Oh yeah,
it was a hell of a match. Any chance we're gonna see the Cowboy and BIW again?
I would say there's a chance at least. We talked about it a little bit there in El Paso. You know, anytime there's guacamole and queso and margaritas, you get to chit chat some, and I think there might be something that we can work out down the road. You'll definitely see Chase again. That definitely won't be the last time you see Chase. I almost and again, I'm still debating. We haven't talked about the last 4 or 5 spots yet, but you know, Chase was on my list at least for people that could be in this tournament, because with his experience and all the things that he's done, you know, that brings something to the table. But again, I could only pick 16. So, and 2 of the spots are tied up in that Spring Hill match, as we've discussed. So that really only leaves me 4 more spots of flexibility.
Well, BIW is doing big things. The thing that you can count on with BIW, you're always going to get 5 or 6 quality matches. You're seeing the stars of today, the stars of yesterday, and the stars of tomorrow.
We do try and do a big blend, and we try and bring people from different areas. So you might have a wrestler from San Antonio wrestle a guy from Nashville, and they've never stepped foot in the ring together. They've never been in the same locker room. So we try and bring that fresh match, but also it helps the wrestlers because now they know somebody from the Tennessee market. Now he knows somebody from the San Antonio market. And you can kind of cross, you know, do your thing and hopefully get out to different territories and do different things. And, you know, a lot of the stuff that we do is based off of the old days in Mid-South. And that's why we do the traveling and hit the different towns. And that's just a big part of why I do what I do. But I think the territory days were really good about bringing guys in from different territories and making those connections. And, you know, when it gets stale here, you can still go find work in San Antonio. You can still go here and get work. And you made a friend while you were in Mid-South, and now you're in Continental, and just the different combinations of things. So I try in a very small way, keep those things alive in what we try and do. You know, it'll never be the territories. It'll never be as big. It'll never be as good. It'll never be that again. But that doesn't mean we can't take elements of it that were really cool and worked and still use them in today's world. A lot of the stuff you see at a BIW show, some of the storylines and some of the angles, if you went and popped in a 1987 UWF DVD or something, you would recognize 1 or 2 things here or there. You know,
nothing wrong with that.
No, and again,
one of the most successful gimmicks today is Tony Storm.
Absolutely,
and the kids are eating it up. But when you take somebody my age, I recognize that she's copying the Carol Burnett show.
Very true.
I mean, all the way down to Luther being the Harvey Korman Max character.
Right.
She's Madam. And Harvey Korman and Luther is Max. And she's doing that silent film era star And if you go back and you throw that in and watch old Carol Burnett clips, you can see that that's what Toni Storm's doing. But what's old is new again. She went and got something that that her audience would have. I guarantee you 90 out of 100 people would not recognize that.
Right.
But when I was a kid, I watched Carol Burnett show every Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times the best story is like taking a little bit from what you saw then and then tweaking it with something that makes sense today. And it feels brand new when really it's just a small little tweak. Everything else is very similar to something that's happened, but you took that small tweak and it just feels fresh and brand new. And a lot of people that are at the BIW show, the average age is, 18 to 39 or whatever. A lot of them don't know the 80s wrestling, or they don't remember it, or they saw it as a kid and it's in and out. So they don't see it. And again, we don't fall in that completely. We definitely don't fall in that trap 100%. But I try to take some stuff you've seen and then tweak it. Like when we did the loser wears a dress match and there was makeup and different things. That was something that happened a lot back in the day. That wasn't a brand new thing, but I had so many people tell me, "Oh, we've never seen this. What's going on?" Because Frankie and Brittany were beating up Danny and putting makeup on him and calling him a girl, and then they ended up having the loser wears a dress match, and Danny wins, and Frankie has to wrestle in the dress, and he's still embarrassed about that. He hasn't wrestled in Brookhaven since, and that was 2 years ago. The November 2nd will be the first time he's wrestled there in 2 years because he was too embarrassed to show up after that match. So there's stuff that you can just tweak it just a little bit, and it's new again.
Well, Josh, I want to thank you for coming on tonight.
Yes, sir.
A lot of exciting things. I love working for BIW, being part of the BIW family. When I tell you it's my favorite place to work, it's my favorite place to work.
Well, that means a lot. And we try to make it a lot of people's favorite place. Like, I know it's not the end goal, but I also tried to make sure BIW wasn't the first goal either, that we felt like something special. And sometimes we don't succeed. I'm not the best at YouTube. I'm not the best at getting our footage out there, or, we don't have the fancy lights and all that stuff. But if you look over a 17-year track record, we draw better than most places, not all. And match quality wise, I will put our stuff with anybody in Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, or Texas on a consistent basis. I'm not saying like, one night their show might have been better, whatever. But if you balance out 20 shows and you compare them to BIW's 20 shows, I don't think there's anybody that could hands down say they do better match quality than us in Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, or Texas. There's some right there with us, but I don't think anybody could say they do better.
It's definitely it's a quality show, and that's not to disparage anybody else.
Not at all. And again, there's different goals in wrestling too. I had a certain goal of doing this. There's places that only book young kids that need experience and exposure, and that's fine. Wrestling needs that too. It's just, you're not going to tell me that 6 student matches is better than 6 BIW matches with guys like Steve Anthony, Caleb Colley, Barrett Brown, and the list goes on.
I would stack that upcoming Brookhaven show. If we were all playing poker and every card was that's a winning hand.
Right.
I don't know that I don't know anybody running the country has got a card that strong.
Well, I definitely feel, and there's a lot of good shows Saturday. I've seen flyers for so many promotions. Barrett Brown and Steve Anthony has a good chance of being the best wrestling match that participates in October 26th. And I'll put that up against anybody. There is a good chance that wrestling match is the best wrestling match that happens in the South on October 26th. And there's a ton of wrestling shows happening on October 26th. And that's discouraging. That's not disrespectful. That's just 2 former NWA World Junior Champions going head to head that have both traveled, that have both worked for New Japan in different capacities, that both have such respect for this game, the athletic ability and the talent to back it up too.
If I'm not mistaken, Steve Anthony beat Liger.
He did.
In the Tokyo Dome.
He did. while he was over there, he also got to beat Tiger Mask.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Steve Anthony's wrestled some of the best juniors in the history of Japanese wrestling and got his hand raised at the end of them. And right before he went over to Japan, he had a match with AJ Styles that Matt Riviera booked. And like that match led to some, phone calls and doors opening because he saw how good Steve Anthony was.
Right.
I mean, Steve Anthony's right there with anybody you could name. He's had matches with Christopher Daniels. He's had matches with AJ. He's had matches with Black Taurus, who you see on AEW now. He's wrestled all these guys. When Go Shiozaki was at Harley's, that's who Harley trusted to take care of Go. He was on excursion from Noah, and Noah had made it known that this was their next dude. This was their next champion. He trusted Anthony to be the one to train with him, to pick him up from the airport, to get him where he needs to go. Harley made sure Steve Anthony was right there everywhere Go was. And if
he's talking about Harley Race, if y'all don't know who he's talking about when he says Harley.
So, Steve Anthony's done some amazing things in wrestling, and I just named 5 to 7 of them. There's 50 more, and there's probably 40 more that I don't even know about because he's so humble. He doesn't brag in the back about what he's done or how good he is or anything. When he came back to wrestling, the first match that he had for me was with Caleb Conley. He was worried, and he might get mad that I said this, but he was worried that maybe he had lost a step. Maybe he couldn't hang with a guy like Caleb Conley anymore. Not in his heyday, but now that he's been away for 3 years and he's had one match, and his second match back is going to be with Caleb Conley. He was a little worried. No reason at all to be worried. One of the best matches we've ever had, and it was amazing. And I hope we get to see it again in BIW before my days are over. So,
well, all right. I will see you Saturday night. Can't wait to see you and Christian.
Yes, sir. Enjoy that nice drive. I know Fountain Hill's your favorite of all of our shows.
Our nephew's playing football at Riverfield.
Oh, so you're already
Friday night. So
anyway,
I would love to see my nephew run it up in them real proper like, because I hate Riverfield with the dark purple passion.
Purple passion.
Dark purple passion. Yeah, they're my high school sports villain now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now that's Riverfield and Rayville?
Yes.
Okay, that was one of my rivals. I went to private school as a kid,
and
we would travel and play Riverfield. So I got to play against Riverfield in baseball, basketball, football, and golf.
I look forward to my granddaughter. She's going to be playing them for the next 4 years.
Okay,
and I look forward to her brutalizing them.
Prairie View was my number 1 enemy out of Bastrop, but Riverfield was my number 2. So,
well, Riverfield, and then in Manchester, up in Yazoo City for soccer.
Okay.
Those are my high school villains now.
Rayville has my favorite Waffle House because that Waffle House has a Coke Zero.
Oh,
don't have Coke Zero, but the Rayville one does.
Hey, now I will give Rayville their props though. During basketball season, their concession stand hits real hard. I mean, you're going to either get red beans and rice, or you're going to get some gumbo. They throw down to the concession stand.
That's true. And like Riverfield is one thing, but Rayville, the high school there, in basketball, they had won multiple basketball championships in a row. Like they take basketball very serious in that city.
Yeah.
Because it's a small school, small town, and they were beating big schools in basketball.
Well, they're going to play Greenville St. Joe, the defending state champions, Friday night, and I'm hoping that we show out.
All right, awesome. I hope so too. So y'all are just going to stay in Rayville?
So we're just going to move on we're going to leave Rayville and go on to Carly's house and spend the night, and we'll already be in Farmerville and just have a short drive up. And
yeah, that breaks the trip up a little bit at least compared to normal. So
me and Stephanie, that drive home is rough on us.
I can understand that.
I mean, she's trying to nap, but then she's afraid I'm gonna fall asleep driving, and then I'm trying to sleep, and I'm afraid she's gonna fall asleep driving, and her contacts start drying out, and it gets bad. It's just about.
And as long as that drive is, I think it's 3 hours so?
4.
We got wrestlers that are driving 12 hours this weekend to get to the show, and then driving back to wrestle a Sunday show.
Oh, I know they're road warriors. I hear
So
I mean, with the way that they travel, I mean, I'm sitting here crying about 4 hours. Now, it's been well established on this show that I'm an elderly.
You are.
I am an
Yes.
elderly. I kind
And the
of think
beard
that,
now, I mean, you're really elderly now.
man, I got Camacho coming up and I got Koloff in town. And I think that we have some show stunts that
Yes,
I have to pay off.
you do.
We do have some guys coming that have beat you up before. So
That could be our new goal. We need to get to 700. Let's
what
do
are
it.
what are you doing at 700?
What are you going to do? I
I ain't
think
doing
Josh,
nothing. I mean, we got to 500 subscribers and Justin quit so he didn't have to eat the mayonnaise.
Okay.
He hates
Okay.
mayonnaise bad. And I get it because I haven't been cool with mayonnaise since I saw Undercover Brother.
Well, at 700, you could have Amy give a speech about how Arn is the worst four horsemen, and then she'll probably quit right before y'all get to 700 too, and you'll just be by yourself, Dave. You just be
is
by
that what
yourself.
you want, Dave? No.
She lost a bet. She lost a bet to me once, and she had to be the world's the first lady of the Sid Vicious fan club.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's just seeing her trying to put over Arn after every sentence while being the first lady of the Sid Vicious fan club was
Subtly.
killing her.
yeah. Arn was always my favorite horseman. Even with Ric Flair involved, Arn was still my favorite. So
Yeah.
Arn was
definitely.
most entertaining. Oh, well,
He
yeah.
was the
I mean,
workhorse,
him and
you
Rick
know?
were 1 and 1A on promos because
Yeah.
Arn's a talker. But
I mean, and this gets me in trouble sometimes. And Ricky is in my top whatever. It's not my top 5 or whatever, but it's way up there. But the one problem I always had, and I think it's the best formula probably ever in the history of wrestling, but Ric Flair was a little more formula than some of the guys that I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's probably the two, because he had an A, B, and C pretty much.
yeah,
And even though it's probably the best formulas in the history of wrestling, so he deserves to be in his Mount Rushmore, it was still that, where
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of people that I felt like with Terry Funk, I never knew what I was getting. I
Mm-hmm.
never knew how this match was ending. I never knew what was happening. And to me, growing up, that was such a big deal as a kid, not being able to predict anything.
Mm-hmm.
And with Flair, once you've seen, 100 of these matches, once you've seen them, like you start predicting stuff. And again, it's the greatest formula probably in the history, either him or Hulk Hogan.
your guy.
is
You
the
knew your
greatest.
guy. You thought your guy could beat Flair,
Yes,
but
absolutely.
you thought your guy was going to get beat up by Arn Anderson.
Right. And that's why on like my list, I have like a Terry Funk higher than a lot of people. I have a Macho Man higher than a lot of people because
Man.
because as a kid it was just so unpredictable. These promos, these matches, these things. Of course, Great Muta is my goat. He had a Hall of Fame career as the Great Muta, but also as Kajimoto. You could take either half of his career, and they both Hall of Fame careers. So like you just got to see such variety with a lot of the guys that are at the top of my list. And again, that's not taking anything away from Rick. Obviously, he's on the Mount Rushmore. It's just when I start talking about my personal top, I just didn't like that formula to a degree when we start getting nitty gritty. But him or Hogan had the best formulas in the history of wrestling. And Rick obviously had a lot more layers to his formula. But it's the two best formulas probably in the history of the game as far as making money and doing the thing and having longevity. And, they knew that if they did this, they could have a long career, especially in Hogan's case. And nowadays guys don't have that same formula, but they don't wrestle nearly as many matches either. You don't have to go out there and wrestle 350 times in a year. Now you can wrestle, I don't know what the WWE numbers are, but I'm guessing the top guys are wrestling 100 matches in a year maybe now.
I bet not even that.
Yeah,
I mean, you think about Roman. I mean, before Roman Reigns was gone, during that span, I mean, he probably didn't wrestle, but the main events, like he wasn't wrestling every SmackDown.
Yeah,
No.
I definitely think the top WWE guys are wrestling. Like, I think one year Roman Reigns wrestled like less than 20 matches.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the workhorse, like say you were putting Gunther out there, how many matches was
Right.
Gunther having when he was IC champion? Was he
Sure.
having 80 to 100 matches? And that's
Oh,
a
he was
lot.
either defending on the house shows. He was either defending the IC title or he was tag teaming with Imperium.
But of
Right.
course, they've cut way back on their house shows and different things. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
what is their average number? I don't know, but I know it's not 350 no more. you know,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just changed, and it's hard to start judging in comparison. Well, when Bryan Danielson's career kind of ended, I know he's not retired, but his full time career. Where do you end up ranking somebody like him on a top 20 list of all time? You know, where does AJ Styles when he finally calls it quits? Where does Bryan Danielson? Where do these guys end up? Because
Mm-hmm.
even though they might not have the rivalries and the individual one-on-ones that some of these guys had, you don't have your Ric Flair versus Steamboat, your Ric Flair versus Funk, your Ric Flair versus Sting. But you look at the longevity of their career and how many places they did it and how many people they did it with.
Mm-hmm.
Don't AJ and Danielson deserve to at least be in the conversation? But how high do you put them above Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Rock, Stone Cold? It's hard. But that's why lists are fun.
Yeah.
Because there's not a right or a wrong answer.
Definitely.
So
Well, all right.
perfect. I'll see you Saturday, Dave.
I'll be there.
Everybody.
Everybody,
Bye-bye,
Josh Newell,
Josh.
thank you so much for joining us tonight, Josh.
No problem at all. Anytime.
Yay.
Amy, do you have some trivia for us?
I do.
We're going to have to do trivia a little bit different tonight, folks. The
We're
producer,
out of. I was gonna say we're out of practice.
the producer of this show was gone. She went to the casino to hang out with her best friend. I mean, she went to a trade show at work,
Oh,
but she did take her best friend with her, and they hung out at the casino,
I
played
mean,
penny slots.
hey, I went to
But
Vegas.
she also went to the outlet mall. She went to the outlet mall and brought me a really badass Western shirt from the area
Oh,
outlet store. I'm super pumped about my new shirt.
ooh, I like outlet stores. That sounds fun.
I like
All
air
right.
out shirts
Oh, you'll have to definitely show
with the
us.
snaps.
That's a Western shirt right there
Yeah, it is.
with the snaps. So it's our 100th episode.
Yeah, it's our 100th episode. I forgot.
Woohoo! Woohoo! I didn't because that's how I got my trivia. So what I
100th
did is
episode in the hizzy. How about that, y'all?
it's crazy. That is crazy. We've been doing this for almost 2 years.
I know. You think by now we could get an interview done in an hour, but man, we had such a good time with Josh.
I know. I
didn't even get to tell you about my trip to Texas.
I know. We'll have to do that next week too. Yeah, because you've been gone and which, like I said, there's just been all kinds of stuff. So what I did is I asked Google, what is the 100th pay-per-view that the WWE has produced? And it was the 100. This is first question. The 100th pay-per-view event held by the WWF/E was the 2000 Royal Rumble. So I already love it because I like a good Rumble. Where was it held? I got choices for you. Was it New York City, Detroit, Boston, or Washington, D.C.? Where was that 2000 Royal Rumble held?
I want to say, I'm going to look to the chat to help us out with this. And
Chat.
My gut in the year 2000, that's a big number, like a monumental, it's a century mark. I would have to go with New York City.
Uh-huh.
T-Weave agrees with me. New York City had to be.
You both are correct. It
All
was
right.
in New York City and it was in Madison Square Garden. So yes, you're right. It was a very monumental event. Who was the first entrant? You have Christian, Jeff Hardy, D'Lo Brown, or Grandmaster Sexay.
Good job, Willie.
Who was the first entrant into the 2000 Royal Rumble? You want the names again?
You said Christian,
Jeff
Jeff
Hardy,
Hardy.
D'Lo Brown, or Grandmaster Sexy?
I don't think the surprise entrance would have came out first. I'm going to go Jeff Hardy. T-Weave's going Jeff Hardy.
You all are incorrect.
Ah,
It was D'Lo Brown was the first entrant.
wow. I wouldn't have-
Yes. Yes, it was D'Lo Brown.
Well, I
was
don't
the
guess
first
D'Lo would
entrant.
have been like a special guest at that point because he was still around. This was in the year 2000.
This was it. Yeah. You keep saying that. Do you remember when Conan O'Brien and
In the
Andy Richter
year 2000.
2000 in the
In the
year
year
2000.
And they took, yeah, they put the flashlight up.
Yes, those are great.
Yeah.
All right. Who came in as the number 5 entrant and eliminated entrants 1 through 4 and then 6 through 8? No, 6 and no.
Do I get bonus points if I guess this without
6 and
any
7.
without any choices?
Yes.
Is it the Big Show?
You are incorrect, sir.
Okay. Carry on.
So, who came out as number 5 and eliminated the entrants 1 through 4 and 6 and 7? Is it Test, Rikishi, The Rock, or Kane? Who eliminated pretty much
I'm going to say
everybody?
Kane.
How about anybody in the chat got an answer?
I'm going Kane. Sounds like something The Rock would do, but I'm thinking it's more Kane being a badass.
It was actually Rikishi. Very
No
good.
shit. Rikishi got it.
Yes. He Terry slid in with that answer. Yes, it was Rikishi. He eliminated all 4 of for 1 through 4. Grandmaster Sexy was out there with them, and they danced, and then he threw him out. So, who came out in the coveted number 27 spot? Was it X-Pac, Bradshaw, Big Show, or Kane? Number 27 has had the most Royal Rumble winners from that spot. Who came out as number 27? In the year 2000.
Let's say I'm going to go with Kane.
You would be incorrect. It was Bradshaw. That's okay.
Love Bradshaw.
I know, and he's doing some awesome things.
Isn't
You
he?
never know
Showing
where he's
up
going to show
everywhere.
up. Exactly. We got to meet him in Waterloo. We were in the elevator. Me and Sean were in the elevator with him, but we got to meet him at Waterloo too. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. I love Bradshaw. I got to hang out with him. First time I got to hang out with him was in WrestleMania in New Orleans. I was at the hotel, the company hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a picture of me, him, and Bruce, and we're just all 3 laughing, having a great time.
Awesome. So the winner of the Royal Rumble was The Rock. What entrant number was he? Was he number 8, 16, 24, or was he the number 30th entrant?
Oh, he was the 30th. They probably.
You sound so, so confident, but yet so wrong. He was actually number 24.
Okay.
Okay, these next 2 questions are fill in the blank. Okay. So the winner of the Royal Rumble received a title shot for the WWF Championship. They were still F at that time. At WrestleMania 2000. However, a stipulation was put in place for that match. So we're talking about the WrestleMania 2000 match for the WWF Championship. What was that stipulation? So think about the WrestleMania 2000 Championship match. What was the stipulation in that match?
What number? See, 2000. That was 16.
Yes, that is correct.
That the Iron Man match? No, Hart was gone by then.
He wrestled Triple H, if that helps you. Triple H was the champion, is what I should say.
And there was a stipulation on that match.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking to the chat because I don't know. I can't remember.
I think they're asleep, but that's okay. Did we tell you?
Yeah. I love that none of them are even Googling that.
I know. They're like, y'all talking. It was like, it was a fatal 4-way, and there was a McMahon in every corner.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
So you had so yes. So you had Triple H was the champion. Then you had The Rock. Then you had McMahon. Who's the other person?
Would have had to been Shane and Vince.
Yes, was it? I thought Shane was in the corner.
Shane and Vince and Stephanie was in Triple H's corner, wasn't she?
No. Remember, there was a McMahon in every corner. So Linda was in Mankind, was in Mick Foley's corner. The Rock was with Shane.
Okay.
I gotta look this up. Stephanie was with Triple H. Who would have been in Vince's corner? Who would he have had? I'm gonna look this up. Sorry.
Linda?
No, she was in Mick Foley's.
Oh.
Don't be mad, people. Hold on. Let me see.
I think we're gonna get outside of our wrestling bubble a little bit. I want to get my daughter Sarah to come on our show.
Oh yeah.
Sarah is along with her friend Abigail. They do a podcast, Wicked Unscripted, the Secret Society of Superfans. They talk about reality-based television. Like right now, I think Sarah's into House of Villains. We just did I went to the Big Brother finale party. Kat Dunn was hosting it. She's apparently big in the Big Brother world.
Mm-hmm.
Got a hell of a podcast. I looked her up. I'd never watched Big Brother before I did this. And when I watched it, I'm like, this is wrestling. It's all psychology.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But Sarah and Abigail do a great job. Watching Sarah in her Big Brother crowd was like watching, me and my wrestling crowd. And I was real proud of her, and I think a lot of her. And I think this next season of Big Brother, I'm going to be in on that.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to be in on Big Brother and probably make some appearances on the Secret Society Superfans.
Awesome.
And so we may be introducing a Big Brother aspect if I get hooked on it. I'm intrigued. Now, House of Villains, I felt I wasn't into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that has the chick from Real Housewives from New Jersey.
Yeah.
It had Richard from
the
Survivor.
First Survivors. Yep.
Yeah. It had I'm trying to think. I mean, they were villains from they had a wrestler on there. They had a wrestler on there, Mr. Spectacular.
Oh yeah, Jesse. He was on Big Brother.
Right, but he's also but I mean on House of Villains, he's got them pecs popping and
yes.
I know, but so the House of Villains is a little different. Lots of big egos on that show, big personalities.
I imagine.
But anyway, we'll get back to this now. While you were looking, I just thought I'd mention it.
No, that's great. And Terry actually put it in the chat for us. But Shane had Big Show. So Shane was in Big Show's corner. Stephanie was in Triple H's. Linda was in Mick Foley's. And Vince was in The Rock's corner.
Oh. So when you said McMahon in each corner, I was thinking that they were in actually, because it wouldn't have been unheard of for Vince to be in the ring and Shane to be in the ring. So.
Right. No, that's true. I'm sorry. Anyway,
Gotcha.
next question. Okay, I thought this is kind of crazy, but how many participants in the Royal Rumble 2000 actively wrestle for AEW now? It's a very interesting number.
Christian. We got Christian. We got Jericho. Possibly Edge.
There's one more. No, Big Show does not count.
Yeah. And Jeff Hardy doesn't work here anymore.
Nope.
Matt Hardy doesn't work here anymore.
SRB Daddy.
Oh, Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn.
Yes.
Wow.
But that's crazy to think. 24 years later, there are 4, and they're actively wrestling. Like you said, we could have talked about people who have come in through it, but they have actively had wrestling matches in 2024, I guess you could say. So that is it.
Billy Gunn looks better now than he did then.
Yeah. I mean, he's never not looked phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? Like he just, Sid Vicious's son was on Big Brother. I don't know which one.
Yeah.
Trevor?
Yeah.
Was
My daughter called me when Sid Vicious died because she knew who his son was.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a perfect, like you said, it's reality. It's heat.
Everything's
baby
wrestling.
fists, heels.
Everything's wrestling.
We could go all night. But we don't want to go all night because, like I said, I think our fans have fallen asleep on us.
Yeah.
But it's been kind of great, though. It's great to be back. I'm glad you had a good time. I can't wait to hear more about Texas.
Well, I've enjoyed 100 episodes. And I've also enjoyed talking about Big Time Belts. BigTimeBeltsFacebook.com. High quality, low prices. Everybody should have a wrestling belt. Everybody. Just to walk around the house. Throw it over your shoulder. Makes you feel like a badass.
Definitely.
Some people have multiple belts. I have 75, 76. I got a lot.
I bet you feel like a super badass.
It depends. The Queen of the Summit, SWA champion, got her belt at Big Time Belts. Our good friend Tim Robbins got his tag team belt. I have seen the artwork for the women's championship. I cannot wait until it is completed. Tim Robinson is living his belt dreams through Big Time Belts. Man, that tag belt is probably one of my favorite belts. I think that might be my favorite belt that they've done. I do.
It's nice. It's very nice.
It's incredible. Go over to Big Time Belts, Facebook.com. There's a group. Join the group. If you can dream it, he can make it. He's done working on our fantasy football belt for the Ram Network. I do want to take a minute to tell you about the Ram Network, all the fun things we're doing over there for $5 a month. Bonus content galore. Me and Timmy C just dropped an episode of World Class Flashback.
Oh,
it was
cool.
Interesting. It had an 8-man elimination match.
Really?
The Von Erichs with Iceman King Parsons against the Freebirds with Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. There was so much going on in this 8-man tag team match because you had, of course, the natural Von Erich Freebird rivalry was alive and well in this match, but you had the Iceman King Parsons and Buddy Roberts with their personal issue about hair. They've been cutting the Iceman's hair. The Iceman cut Buddy Roberts' hair. We're leading up to Reunion Arena International Star Wars, June 17th, 1983.
1983.
International Star Wars. Giant Baba's on this show. Jumbo Tsuruda's on this show. Tenru is on this show.
Really?
Ted DiBiase's on this show. Kerry Von Erich and Bruiser Brody tag team against the Freebirds, Hayes and Gordy, for the American Tag Team title. My first time seeing Bruiser Brody in person. we're leading up to that. We're going to have a watch along. We're going to have a Zoom for our members where we're going to watch both episodes from International Star Wars 1983 coming up. More information about that next week on our next episode that's going to drop. But just the elimination match was interesting because the winner was called King of the Mountain.
Oh, okay.
Which makes me wonder if the King of the Mountain term kicked around the territories, which later became Jeff Jarrett's match in TNA, the King of the Mountain. Because I don't never remember them calling that, the King of the Mountain. But it was neat how they eliminated. You could be pinfall like everybody ganged up on Terry Gordy and pinned him and got him out early.
Sure.
David Von Erich and Jimmy Garvin, they had their personal issue for the Texas title, and they spilled out over the top rope and eliminated themselves. It was a good match, world-class flashback. Me and Timmy C have a lot of fun with that. Me and Dave and the HSV are doing ringside review, watching CWA. We just watched, we're watching Memphis. We've done 3 episodes. Memphis 1988. This last episode had Jeff Jarrett, the poster. Jeff Jarrett had a poster where he's wearing snakeskin boots and stonewashed jeans, and he's all sprayed up without a shirt on and got the hair like he likes it. And I mean, you could just see the embarrassment on his face when Lance Russell said he was going to play it. And of course, Jimmy Jack Funk came out, and it was so good. I'm on a quest to find one of those posters. That's a holy grail item for me now. They're doing Eras, the new generation.
They've got something cooking with Portland wrestling. They haven't started it yet, but they are. They have all the film.
We have access to the Portland Library.
Yes,
which is going to be so incredible. More information about that's coming soon.
Definitely.
Footballers, you want to get in there on footballers and listen to Dave and Timmy do footballers. Maybe you make some money if you're into gambling. They call it Footballers Getting Paid
with Tim and Dave.
Yeah, and so much more. What do you call that thing that you and TJ do with the authors? Power of the Pen.
We haven't picked out our next book, but we've talked to Brian Solomon. We've talked to Zach Haydorn about their books. We haven't picked out one, but right now, like I said, I know TJ is very he's very into the Portland wrestling. He has the library, and he has a book that he is reading about Portland wrestling. So I mean, they're going 100% in with this. But yes, so we love to talk to the authors of books, wrestling, usually biographies. And I finished The Grappler. I would love to have him on because I've got lots of questions for him. So you never know who's going to show up on our shows.
I keep that book right here on my desk.
Yes. Well, mine's by my bed. I finished it. I finished that book. It's been a while. I finished that book, but it was really good. And I have lots of interest. I'd love to ask him some questions. So he's a very nice grappler.
Just put it in your mouth. It's supposed to be coming out with something pretty soon. Audience with the Belt Pope. I'm past due to show you another wrestling belt. We're just having all kinds of fun over at the Ram Network. Coming up with new ideas. The Portland wrestling deal is going to be very big.
Yes.
Because I don't know if y'all know who all came out of Portland wrestling. I mean, we had Billy Jack Haynes, we had Roddy Piper. I mean, Don Owen had a hell of a promotion up there. Buddy Rose. The list goes on and on from Portland.
And even if they didn't start there, they went through it. I mean, I know that.
Oh, it was a major territory back in the day.
Dr. Tom wrestled up there. Like you said, there
was a wrestler named Ricky Vaughn.
Ricky
Vaughn was from Dallas. And Fritz Von Erich sent him to Portland to learn to wrestle and brought him back to world class wrestling as Lance Von Erich. So I mean, it was just so we're doing all those fun things over there with the Ram Network. It's called Wrestling and More. we do that with Filter Free Popcast. Filter Free Popcast. We'll do a deep dive into a year that I just had it this week. They're doing 1977, I believe.
Exactly. Only one of them was alive when that hit. So I'll let you guess which one between Tim, TJ, and Dave. Which one was alive in 1977?
TJ
No,
or Tim? No, it's TJ.
it's Tim.
Is it Tim?
TJ's the youngest of those.
Oh, no kid.
Three. Yeah.
Oh, he sounds more mature than the other two, so he's a lot more mature. And then we also have the TNA Top 10. Terry Weaver, Allison Faye, and Andrew Hermes. They do a fun show. They have a top 10 list. It was horror movies this week. No, costumes this week.
Costumes.
It was costumes this week.
You're right.
1979. My bad.
No.
Oh, he's born in 79.
Tim was born. Never mind. None of them were alive in October 1977.
So top 10 Halloween costumes this week. Last week was top 10 horror franchises.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, my top three was the same as their top three, just in different order.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think you can ever go wrong with Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween scared shit out of me. And Nightmare on Elm Street was second, and then Nightmare, and then Friday the 13th. But the original Halloween, especially that last sequence where Michael just kept coming and she hit him with the crochet needle, and then the whole thing, and then Dr. Loomis unloading the clip, spoiler alert, but Michael got up. So
just in case you were planning on watching that tonight, sorry.
The original Halloween scared the living. I mean, even the Nightmare on Elm Street was a completely different concept, and it scared me. But those boys are doing, and they also talk college football. Nebraska. I mean, Andrew's gonna fawn over Nebraska. T Weave's gonna cry over Auburn. Alabama lost this week, so it's a big show for T Weave. They love it. They love it when Alabama loses.
Well, and honestly, this
Auburn versus Kentucky this week.
Right.
So there's a chance. And I thought Auburn would be a lot better than they are, because I think a lot of Coach Freeze. I mean, he takes a lot of crap, but he's a good coach.
Right. I think college football in itself has been just wild all over the place. You can't really predict. I mean, in some ways, like, it's like LSU versus Arkansas, and you're like, oh, I think I know, of course.
Yeah.
And then the next thing of course it's got to be LSU. Arkansas beats them by 35 points or something. It's like you just don't know. So college football and listening to TNA Top 10 when they talk football, it's been really interesting because, like I said, you just never know what team.
And then I just knew that Texas was going to steamroll Georgia, and they didn't.
Exactly. Or, I mean, who would have thought that Vanderbilt would have stomped two? I mean, two teams, three teams. I mean, if you want to count Ball State, they're on a roll. Like, I mean, they did not.
They beat Alabama. They beat Alabama, but I mean, let's face it, they were due.
And then beat Kentucky, again. It's like they're on a roll. They're not. I mean, everybody was like, "Oh, Alabama's going to stop them by 30 and whatever."
The transfer portal and NIL, and just actually admitting that we're paying players now, has changed the face of the game.
Oh my
and you
God,
can hear all about it on the TNA Top 10.
Yes.
Oh, and I do love, and I do love that George. I do love that Miami blew it.
Oh,
I'm not a Miami fan. And I mean, they screwed themselves. Handing off the ball when you could have just ran the clock out. You handed off the ball.
Yes, they deserve that.
Those are the types of situations that make me think that the fix is in and there's some gambling money to be made. I had an old friend that was in wrestling for a long time, and he told me everything's a work and everything's a shoot, and everything I told you just now is absolutely the truth. Something like that. And I think there's a lot. I think this sports entertainment is. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but when stuff like that happens, I mean, you fumbled and they made the touchdown to win the game, and
right. Well, you never know. You're right. You're right.
I mean, it's just hard to believe that at that level that you do something that stupid.
Definitely. No, I agree. I mean,
But Miami has a reputation of being a dick to the other team, so they may have.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, they might have thought, oh, we're going to get another, cockiness. That'll get you.
Well, we want to
there.
thank everybody for being with us tonight. We've done
Yes.
100 episodes. We've done
Thank y'all
100
for being-
episodes, and we're having it. And I've enjoyed doing these with you and then with Justin and all of our guests. And this has been it's a passion project because we ain't making no money. I mean, it's like we're at the crossroads because everything's due this month because we're fixing to start another year. And I'm like, I'm either gonna, if I got to pay for all this stuff, another year of Audio Boom and all that. So yeah, we're gonna do it. So we're committed to doing at least another year.
I think for us that, things have really, I think we've had some great shows. I've really, really enjoyed working on it with you too. And Justin, I'm so glad he stopped by in the chat.
Yeah.
That was nice. So yeah, here's to another year, Pondwater.
Let's do this. I mean, 100 episodes, and we got an anniversary episode coming up pretty soon.
Very true. Very true.
I mean, it's 52 in a year, so 4 more episodes will be on our second anniversary. We need to start planning for that. Maybe we do something big. We've been really blessed for, look at all the names that we've had on the show.
Definitely.
So maybe bigger and better things coming.
Sounds good to me. And thank you all for being there with us. We appreciate it.
We'll see you next Tuesday. For Amy Vaughn, I'm Palmwater Dave, and we'll catch you next week. Thank y'all for hanging with us.